This episode of RPMMO Radio is brought to you by all our amazing and generous Patreon donors. Visit us at patreon.com RPMMORadio to help support the show. It is also brought to you by
Making your way in Tamriel today can really suck a lot. People trying to rob and steal everything you've got. Wouldn't you like to make them pay? That's why you wanna go where you can give someone their name, and they'll stab them in the brain. You wanna make sure they can see the victims aren't all the same. You wanna give the Dark Brotherhood their name. Just call upon the Night Mother and give her coin and name. You don't have to be there when they scream in pain.
You're listening to RPMMO Radio.
Does internet porn know you're cheating on it?
Where entertainment and roleplay in MMORPGs have little hybrid mutant babies.
Make a note of this. Dishonor on you, dishonor on your cow, dishonor on your whole family.
And now, here's your hosts, Ashen Phoenix, Civ, Jazz, Strafe, and Yunfei.
Everybody off. We need to go on a quick adventure.
Hello, role players. Welcome to RPMMO Radio. This is our 75th episode, Death Becomes You. I, of course, am one of your hosts, Ashen Phoenix, and with me, as the intro said, is Jazz, Sib, Strafe, and Yunfei. How's everybody doing?
Hello.
Doing good, boss.
Good. All right, now, if you notice that everybody but me sounds like they're underwater, that's because Discord. I have no control over it, neither do the rest of us. So it's just going to sound like a hot garbage file.
Yep.
It'll probably come in and out. I don't know. Discord's just having a weird night, and unfortunately, since we do the show through Discord, it's just the way it's going to sound. I, of course, record directly into the file, so I will sound crystal clear and sing like an angel. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
I think I got my America's Got Talent edition signed up. I'm ready to have Simon Cowell tell me how amazing I am.
Mm-hmm.
Keep holding your breath, boss.
Yeah.
But no, I mean everybody I know says I'm like it's like the voice of an angel.
Uh-huh.
Really?
A tune deaf angel, maybe.
That's just hurtful. I mean, true, but hurtful. Well, I appreciate everybody tuning in today. We do this, I don't know, a couple times a month, or there's periods where we do things 3 times out of the month. We do the show 7 Central Time over at twitch.tv/RPMMORadio. Appreciate everybody that tunes in. Also appreciate anybody that goes over there and follows it, subscribes, kind of like David R. Haley did last week, where he followed and then subscribed at Tier 1 with his Amazon Prime. So we appreciate that, David.
Woo!
What a guy.
He is.
Prime subs, guys.
That's right. Yeah, don't let them go to waste. That's just wasting money. I mean, shoot, you're paying $450,000, I think, a year now for Amazon Prime. Is that what we're up to? I think it's
ridiculous, but yeah.
Yeah. Well,
My husband and I split it, so it works okay.
I make sure that they pay for it in shipping costs.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah. They pay for that out the nose. And then the $5 a month that you get for Discord stuff, that's 5 times 12. By my calculation, that's somewhere around $5,000 that they give you every year.
Uh-huh.
$5,000.
I may not be what you would call a mathematician-ish.
I mean, I wasn't going to call it out, boss, but it is what it is.
I don't think I need to be talked down to by you. I've got family to do that. I don't need you.
Exactly. He's got me to do all the talking down.
You don't need to help. You're not helping. These are the things that are unhelpful.
Keep going, Sibs.
Man. So, but yeah, we're a podcast, so Apple Podcasts, anywhere, Android podcast app, whatever your favorite is, pick one of the 5,000 on the Play Google Store thingy. Spotify, Podbeam. Appreciate everybody doing that. If you go over to Apple Podcast, you want to leave us, a review or a rating or anything like that, feel free to. We'll read it on the air.
Even if it's bad.
Especially if it's good. I mean bad. Especially if it's bad.
Bad, we'll take it.
Oh,
it's going to be so good, you guys. This is like the auto-tune episode.
Oh
man,
yeah,
she went
I know.
jogging.
It's going to be... But just remember, since on the podcast, I am crystal clear. Crystal clear.
We need to work on that, I swear.
No. I think it's exactly the way it should be. So, let's see. Before we get into the what we've been doing in role play, we actually had an email. Can you believe that? Somebody actually emailed us.
Wow.
Anyone want to guess who it was?
You?
Well, I mean, it was close. I mean, I'm related to her as my mom. She's like, "Hey, I love you."
Aw.
No, she didn't email it. She doesn't listen.
Oh. I thought you were serious. I was like, oh.
No, Mom doesn't. I can
Why
barely
do you want to lie? Why do you want to be a liar? Huh?
I can barely get you to listen to the show, and you're on it.
I listen.
What episode are you on?
I'm a little behind because I haven't been at work the last 2 months. But
Oh, so it's only okay if you're just already doing something. I get you.
yeah, I'm busy here. I got things to do, like nothing, absolutely nothing.
Yeah. Exactly.
What she's trying to say is she's got to find all of Nuka-Cola in 76.
So actually, we got it from David R. Haley. He's long-time listener. It just hasn't been around. Been busy. He's like a voicey-overy guy. But he emailed us, which you can too, at rpmradio.com. Or wait, yeah, you can actually do that there, or rpmradio@gmail.com. But we actually have a little form on the website too, and it goes to the same place. So he emailed us on the 74th episode, which was the episode before 75, for those keeping track, which is the current episode you're listening to.
So that would be.
You could have just said.
I cut
No,
Jez
I
off.
have to prove how intelligent I am by going the longest winded route. Well, still.
Congratulations, you do it professionally.
Do you remember what that episode was about?
Me being great.
No, I
At
totally missed it.
everything?
Wrong.
Okay, well, what was it about, Smarty Pants?
Journals.
Are you
No.
sure? Is that...
Don't make me question myself. What was it about, guys?
All right. Anyway, David R. Haley writes a lot of points I agree with. The general RP public having a sort of ADD handle on big story arcs and want to move on and finish the story that night, like a 22 minute episode of Dragon Ball Journal.
Crammed all into a few hours.
I have journal. I have a blast doing journals, but as I think Ashen has seen in my character post, my character post has a written format and include in a hidden link in the journal, if in the guild, for my character verbal readings of the journal. He actually, like I said, he does a voice acting stuff. He left the link to it, but I can't give that out because that would be really awkward. Because view thread /22928666. Oh well, 666. Well, that explains everything.
Can you
It's a little
post it?
I can, but will I?
Will you?
I will. I don't think I've ever RP'd with anyone with intention of to mingle into a serious relationship. As to me as a person thinks that straining as to me. That's remember, he's a writer. Anyway,
I was about to say.
I mean, real life dating is maddening, obnoxious, and honestly frustrating. Married now, glad to have to never date again. Amen, brother. Amen. Preach on. Preach on.
Heard that.
Thank you guys for doing what you do. Sorry, I was hiatus in the podcast realm, and we accept your apology, and we'll expect numerous compensation in the way of Oreo cookies, double stuffed preferably.
Ooh, libations.
That's right. So appreciate you emailing, and yeah, it's definitely the comments. I never understood the must have virtual woman in my role play. Maybe I'm out of touch with people, I think, but I shouldn't be. But so appreciate you emailing, David. That's
Yes.
like I said, if you guys got anything you ever want to email us, do it. If you don't want it read on air, got to make sure you tell us. He didn't say that, so I read it. Because it makes people let you know that there's actually other people listening beyond the one of you. 2 or 3 of you. 5, 6, 7, 8, I don't know how many are listening. So with that, let's go ahead and see what we've been doing in role play this week. I think we're going to go with the person that has the most background noise in Discord, which, hey, Jazz, that's you.
Is it now?
Uh-huh. Yeah, your little bubble lights up every time you're moving around, you're eating. I mean, my blood sugar's crashing. I have to go eat something, otherwise I'm going to go into convulsions and pass out.
Every turn of the chair, every stroke of the key.
If I
cannot help it, my stupid...
Every meow of the cat.
Every meow of the cat, every strangled child, you know.
Every bark of the dog, every shake of the chihuahua.
Thank God he does not make noise when he shakes.
He does shake a lot, doesn't he, though?
Yes.
He's a chihuahua, of course.
Right now, he's trembling, looking at me because he wants a handout.
Wow.
Give him the boot, Jazz. He'll get over it.
No, he won't, because there's children out there, and he doesn't like children, so I'm going to leave him in here.
We here at RPMMORadio do not advise or condone the abuse of animals at all.
I mean, unless
no
they're
chihuahuas were harmed in the making of this podcast.
Unless they're really
now, I can't speak for Gormal. You know, that's a whole nother ball of wax.
So, all right. Well, Jazz, let's hear you hear what you did in roleplay. You know what? Let's go ahead and do it this week. Let's see what it sounds like if you were in a fishbowl.
Go, Jazz!
Really?
Well, I mean, that's what we all sound like, so let's go with it.
Yeah. Okay, well, this is an excerpt from Ciel's writings that I do for her. We have a blossoming story arc that we are nursing along, and this is part of that. I had to get permission from Trath for this, but it's all cleared, so we're ready to go. Ciel hopped on her guar outside Trithalis's estate and headed away at a gallop. She got to the way shrine and activated it, porting away before anyone might stop her. Once in Alakir, she headed to the tavern, seeking to leave a note with one of the servers there. The girl was bat-faced and pretty, with a small build and perky boobs. He liked him with perky boobs. Unlike Trath, who liked vast tracts of land, his twin preferred them dark, sweet, and with a wicked smile and knowing eyes. And he'd get her message. She hopped back on the guar and headed out of town for the docks. She stopped by a checkpoint and stabbed her hand, rubbing her hands together to make 2 bloody covered handprints on the stone nearby. It was literally covered in those things. This was a place for messages, a special kind of messages. She used her bloody hands to palm over the dagger he had made for her and warded to eavesdrop on her, and she left it on the rock under the prince with the center crystal destroyed. He would know what that meant. The rest of the day was spent traveling, stopping to leave bloody prints or bits of this or that along the way. When she got to the docks, she hopped on the skiff and headed out the first star peak, the sky bright and orange-streaked. Red sky at night, she hummed to herself. She sat and listened to the oars as the skiff was piloted away, heading for deeper water. Halfway out into the water, she used her portal stone and left the pilot scratching his head. Why she live like that? She paid for the whole way. Ozma are weird. He shook his head and headed back, content for an early night and a pocket full of gold. At the tavern, the waitress finally got a moment's peace. She stopped eating her quick dinner for the moment and opened the note, reading the childish scribble out loud. The Fox and the Scorpion. Who bit who? Catch me if you can. She shook her head. Such a strange note. She tucked it into her pocket and returned to work, unaware of glaring eyes that had narrowed as she had read the message. She came every night to take a break here, to rest her feet and eat her dinner. She was paid well to read any messages she had been given, out loud. As she wandered off, unaware the message had been sent, the eyes shimmered and vanished. Weeks picked up the package at his door as the sun came up and opened it curiously. Inside was his favorite cheese, a jar of red glow bugs, and a note, scribbled in a familiar script. Enjoy the treat. You know what to do. Thanks for everything. We're even. WMC. He looked sad for a moment and sighed, but he nodded and tucked the jar under his arm as he headed for work. The gentleman walked his morning walk, smoking a cigar and enjoying the early morning crisp air. He heard a noise and turned. An hour later, a fisherman saw his feet floating under the docks. She screamed, and he was fished out. His throat had a clean slash across the jugulars and the voice box, with 2 perfect punctures into each lung from the back of the man's chest. Clutched in his hand was a waterlogged and smeared image of a red handprint made of ink from red berries, and not much larger than a child's, on a rough piece of linen. The young man dragged the woman through the streets as the sun was setting. She was pretty roughed up and no longer struggling, following along behind the man with the token yank every now and then. He threw her into the house and shut the door behind him, grimacing at her. What were you thinking? You know you're mine. He yelled, and she flinched, ducking as his hand came up. The hit never came. She heard something odd and opened her eyes as he slowly went to his knees, his gaze locked with hers, a hand over the slashed throat, making a strange gasping noise. She screamed. In his hand was a square of rough linen, a red-stained handprint, the only shape on it. She was pretty, and she swayed on the stage as men threw coins. Her eyes were dark and dangerous, but she was beautiful. After a profitable evening, she took her coins and walked home, singing to herself. Her mind was on her new suitor and how dangerous he seemed to her. She smirked, uncaring about how he had killed her last suitor, or how he seemed to stalk her and pounce on her when she least expected it. He was cruel and cold, but he paid her well, and he was delicious to behold. She heard a small noise and turned. They found her sitting in the alley, propped up like a doll, her makeup perfect. The only mar to her beauty was the red handprint covering her neck. A single stab to the back of her skull, blood pooling behind her, had ended her life. In her hand, clutched, was a single coin. It was oddly minted, the sign of nocturnal on one face and the moon on the other. Somewhere nearby, as the men carefully put the whore into the cart, eyes narrowed and vanished into the dark, swirling mist with a low, dangerous growl.
Where everybody knows your name.
That was good.
Good stuff.
Very
Excuse
good. No problem. So, who's next?
Don't everybody talk at once.
Over the
Wow,
crowd.
this is not filling me with the good feelies.
I'll go next.
To be fair, normally you assign who's going
I know.
next.
I was throwing you a curveball.
I see.
Do you want me to go next? or
You
somebody else?
failed me. Yes, you may go next because you
Okay.
spoke.
Mine is basically an end story not an end story. It's just a ending kind of to the Pell Orc series that I'd been writing. There's more coming, but I don't know if it'll go in this or into another group of stories, just because this is shifting to who actually was behind everything, and it's an ongoing RP arc. So, but this is just something I wrote for it. So, Voley came up the stairs to the reflecting pool and saw Trask standing in front of a small, beautiful art monument. Just at the sight of it caused her to take a deep breath. He turned, catching sight of her, and slowly started forward. Voley moved to meet him halfway, As they met, Trath gathered her hands and kissed her knuckles softly. She smiled, but her heart ached, knowing what he had been doing. His words were spoken softly and sadly. I wanted a place for her to lay in peace and beauty. You chose well, Trath, as a good father would, Voley quietly managed to respond. How are you feeling, my Bulwer maiden? Trath's question hiding a hint of worry. I feel strong. I feel like I want revenge for what was taken from me. All that was taken from me. Her voice hardening as she spoke quietly in the threatening tone. You will have your blood price, my mate. Trath's eyes taking in her pale features. She had lost a little weight, and he knew she needed her to get her strength back before going hunting for the one that was responsible. He felt her shift, and her fingers intertwined in his. Slowly she started towards the small monument, pulling him along with her. Bully stood looking on at the perfect little arch. How he had enchanted a welkin stone to glow in the small bowl at the center. It was beautiful. It made her heart hurt. She knelt down and felt Trath join her kneeling before the small grave marker. You did a lovely job here, Trath. It is perfect for her. I wanted to honor her. She was real and alive, even just for a short time. But I know we would have loved and cherished her the way parents should. She felt his fingers tightening with hers. Your son will know what a good father you are, my golden knight. Of this I have no doubt. Bully could feel Trath stiffen at her words. You know, it's a baby boy. His words holding a hint of hope. Kyle told me earlier this evening when she checked on me. She said she could sense a difference in the child I have in my belly, meaning that it was more than likely a boy. She had told me that he was strong and growing, that right now we both should be in the clear. We just need to take a few more days to rest, and I should be able to get back to doing whatever I must. Voley spoke slowly, and at the end of her words, she turned her head to look up at Trath. I will have a son. Trath's mind began to wonder about who the little one would look like. He wished the boy to have his mother's tusks and his charm. I don't have the words, Voley. I am just so grateful that we were able to bring you home. I am sorry. Don't apologize for someone else's wrongs, Trath. Her rage touching her words briefly as she cut him off. Solemn eyes moved back to look at the grave marker. Have you thought of a name for her? She deserves a name, given to her by her parents. Bully gently squeezed Trath's hand as she turned to look up at him. Two sets of eyes looking towards the other, for a haunted minute. I haven't thought about a name, Trath's words soft and remorseful. Have you? Not till now. But I feel we need to name her, Voley's words matching Trath's. What about naming her after your mother, darling? He asked. Trath, what was your mother's name? She spoke softly. Astoria? Story. His fingers gave her a gentle squeeze. She fell silent for a few minutes. I know. Her name will be Asteriel. Asteriel Silverleaf. Voley said with commitment and pride. Asteriel, know this, little one. We will do whatever we must to avenge the innocent life that was taken from you, denying us in this world your glorious light. I vow a blood price to be paid. Voley's fingers tightening around Trath as she felt him squeeze hers in a silent vow. Okay, I'm going to stop right there. There's more, and I'll post it.
Okay.
Good
Very
story.
good. Yeah. How about you, Strafay?
I'm going to read one from the same arc, except it's from the bad guy's perspective.
Yeah.
So give me a minute to pull the story up and get all in dubious mode.
No, it's all right. We'll wait.
I'm ready. You ready?
No, we'll wait. We're waiting.
I was born ready, son. All right, we're doing this. Jael was quite vexed at the scene of the Orcimer camp unfolding to the detriment of the brutes that had stolen the pregnant maid of his brother. Still, it was not a total loss. When they had first laid hands on her, the orc Dravor had lusted after Volia the most, had killed one of her twins she was carrying unknowingly. That soul now shimmered in the Starbender, along with the Altmer woman's soul he captured in that delightful ship sinking. Any trace of alien energy would suffice. He was still unsure if the Altmer soul he had captured held a child or not. Regardless, Altmer energy would suffice. The two souls gleamed inside the artifact core, adding to its luminescence. He looked back to his scrying mirror and observed the battle as it played out through a pair of well-trained feral eyes. They really had no chance, he mused, observing the powerful allies his brother had gathered to recover Volie. He would have to step carefully now that all these unforeseen factors had presented themselves. A shadow-scale assassin, a ruthless Altmer Dragonite, that seemed to favor the first soul he captured, the Dunmer commander from his brother's past, of which bore more investigation on possible progeny. The two Imperial males, one fast on his feet, the other methodical, and likely concealing a powerful secret from the way he moved. A rage-filled, reckless Orcimer vampire, a highlighted champ, or cursed Orc Nord woman. And of course, there was his brother, the ever-devoted White Knight. He watched them decimate the Orc band and their wolves one by one, paying special attention to each combatant. How he relished his apprentice's obsession for detail. It was part of her flaw of attempting to understand. It was a factor that Jael had nurtured during her tenure in the Dark Brotherhood, honing her into a deadlier weapon. What disturbed him most was the former Grand Master Shadowscale working with this rebel. He looked like a shadow himself, snuffing out the torchlights and the campfires without anyone noticing until it was too late. He would have to confer with Nocturnal to glean if that Orgonian was in her employ or Sithis'. He then observed Sully as she blundered about, oblivious and obviously unbalanced from his little visit the other day or so before she ventured out into this little battle. Still, she was dangerous and a natural leader, directing her companions despite her emotions being compromised. The Imperial close to her did seem well practiced in the assassin's arts and did well to decimate the Orc's wolves. With Sully, what intrigued him most was the Altmer Dragonite, which sprang up from the shadows, knocking her quarry off balance with a burst of flame from her lips, and then expertly cutting her foe down with the ease of a breathing. She would indeed make a fine apprentice, if only she could be persuaded away from his cause. She would bear more investigation to test such waters. The older-looking Imperial caught his gaze next, as he easily moved about, slaying his prey, dodging attacks, killing the remaining wolves. A stab here, a stab there. All seemed quite rhythmic, until he was overwhelmed. Then something rather interesting happened. The Imperial seemed to grapple the wolf and bring it down from some unseen means. This brought Jael more questions than it did, and it did not set well with the alien prince. Perhaps he was a battle mage or a necromancer. Whatever he was, he easily destroyed the wolf and brought it down rather quickly from whatever unseen action he pulled off. He paid little mind to the Orcimer vampire and its blunderings. Whoever had made him possibly only wanted a blunt tool. He blundered about with the orc foe until he finally put him down with the grace of an orc breaking in a wagon, out of frustration. Easily countered, perhaps manipulated. The rage from that self-righteous brother was truly a delight. Life had not been kind to him since he had set his family on a downward spiral. After all, he wolf bonded to an Orcimer of Allmer, and the trauma he suffered from the Legion were nothing compared to what his ancestor had cost him. All in all, the darker emotions he had grown in his brother would serve his ends when the time came to take his soul. He watched on as Trath killed the first orc with such rage. It was more akin to murder than it was of battling a foe. His reckless anger only increased as he squared off with Dravor. Trath was off balance, not watching his form, and it cost him a glancing blow to his helmet, sending it flying away. There was a brief recognition from the orc Dravor of his foe from a dream he had spun for that fool. But it did him little good as his brother struck the damn fool down, buried his sword into his skull, twisting it after a short time of watching his foe bleed out. The image shifted away from the scene when Sia left, went her way into the wilds, and Joe waved his hand over the mirror to disperse the effect. He would need a few more fragmented alien souls, he mused, before taking Trask's course. His revenge upon what was left of Captain Silverstar's betrayal would be complete, and Nocturnal's promise to him fulfilled. The end!
Live from beneath the ocean waves, thank you, Faye.
You're welcome, sir.
I apologize, guys. It's just so bad tonight, but there's nothing we can do about it. You know, you get what you pay for. And unfortunately,
that's right. We get paid nothing, and y'all left. You don't have to pay nothing to listen. So
well, I may use
even.
You end up using Discord. Sadly, if you use a pay service, I've heard them. They're not any better, actually. Yeah, they suck. So it's just the show from under the sea. You give them an inch, and they swim all over you. How about you, Uni? You had anything this week? I know you have. You had a lot of real life stuff and feeling the ick.
Yeah, mostly I've been getting over being sick and watching people on YouTube play Smash.
Yeah, if you stop being sick, I'll come over and play Smash with you. But I'm not going over there as long as you sound like what you just did.
Yeah, sorry.
No, you're all right.
It's getting better though.
Yeah. Last week you couldn't even hardly talk, so hacking up the loogies, but that's all right. All right. Well, go ahead and go in mine. Mine's gonna follow this week is Chatterer Wick, which is a new commander in Service of the Temple. He's a character that they usually commanders when they're raised up in that guild. It's obviously from within the ranks of the guild, and it's an actual player. But this one, for plot wise, they brought somebody in from outside the Abbey and their usual ranks, and so he's kind of an NPC guy, but he's meant to be just the worst of the worst, like I've said before. So this is him following kind of funny enough the topic of the show too. So alrighty, beady red sunken eyes looked at the line of golden-plated ordinators before him, lined up in a row at attention, waiting for their new commander, Chatterer Wick, to speak. The portly, silver-armored commander's leather straps strained against the middle girth of his stomach as he marched back and forth from under his helm. His voice was filled with disdain and near hatred for the state of this abbey's ordinators. I am your new commander, Chatterer Wick, for those that have not yet met me. I am here because the way of this unit has been run is an embarrassment. I spoke with one of your former commanders, Roger Allery. He informed me that I might be your commander, but that he was your daddy. Your daddy. Implying you are a bunch of simpering children hiding under your mother's skirts and behind your father's legs. You are ordinators, not children. I am your commander. I am not your father. I am not your daddy. Perhaps if you had had a stronger commander, this unit would not be a pathetic excuse as I see before me. Or this. He marched over to the ordinator, Riri, in prisoner's clothing, shackles and chains. Grabbing her by her hair, he drug her struggling and threw her before the line. A few shifted uncomfortably. I've looked into her record. This is an sorry excuse for an ordinator. Not only did she disrespect me repeatedly, she was insubordinate and clearly cares nothing for punishment. Look at her. Look! Riri did, in fact, have a look of, here we go again, more lashings. She will not be lashed today, no. By my authority, she will be put to death. by your hands. All of you will beat her until dead. Now, execute the order, he spat. For a full second, then two, none moved. Then they began to move forward, surrounding her, sobbing and begging for her life. One of his new high ordinators, Avul, he believed, clubbed her like a baby horker on the head with a mace. The crack of her skull echoed in the courtyard as her body fell. It grew silent and still as another hit or two came. But it was clear the wound would be mortal. Chatterell looked to the clergy standing nearby. Instead of coming to ordinator training and clucking like Enwa hens, get over here! If Elmsivi wishes this one to live, she will live or die by their will and your hands. Take her away! The limp and clearly now dead body was quickly carried away, with many scowls and angry looks in his direction. He met their eyes, each one of them, and said finally, "Dismissed." And that was him asserting dominance.
The end, or is it?
The end? No, not yet. He's still there, although he's definitely, he stirred up a hornet's nest, that's for sure. She did, in fact, live. For anybody worried, they managed to bring her back, and she is currently happy and healthy in a long-standing coma.
I think Kistian's going to either go AWOL if his request to transfer is not going to go through. He's going to be like, yeah, Kistian does not need this.
No, he's already had, 4 or 5 people lashed, not counting the one he had. Just that one there with head was basted. So,
oof.
Yeah,
rough.
Yeah, he's been a joy. I actually felt bad because he's had to say things like to Dathala, which was Roger's, Kishmas's in-character wife, who was raised a high ordinator under his command. He's like, you actually earned your position. You didn't sleep your way into it, did you? Just the worst.
That's hilarious.
Yeah,
love it.
And I was like, I told her, I was like, I'm so sorry, but I have to say that because that's what he would do. And she's like, it's a legitimate concern. So, but he's been, I will say, I do not really enjoy playing really, really, especially for long periods of time like that, when I'm always berating and getting on to other people for, the most ridiculous of things, every little nitpicky detail. I can't stand that. I hated it when people did it to me. So the fact that, at least it's not my character permanently, so I'm good with that. But man, it's not an easy road to play the bad guy if you're really not ready for it. Yeah. And I feel like I'm constantly apologizing out of character for it. I'm like, sorry, he's just a bad guy.
I used to do that at Ren all the time. I'd send tells I'm sorry for what's going to happen, but this is going down.
Yeah, this is how it's going to be.
It gets to you, man. It will get to you.
Oh, yeah. Well, and, and of course everybody, naturally, I mean, he just had them try to bash in, and beat to death one of their own kind, even though she's kind of a dolt and always, getting in trouble. She's their private pile, basically.
Rough.
Yeah. Your ass looks like about 250 pounds of chewed up bubble gum. Give me one goddamn push-up. That kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But, all right. Well, let's go on to one. Before we hit the main topic, I actually have a story. And is it roleplay related? Nah, but it was a feel-good. And I got a kick out of it. Happened in Final Fantasy XIV. I get the story from massivelyop.com. And it was on the, the Korean servers over there. It's typically, if anybody's played Final Fantasy XIV, you know the rules if you go into dungeons. Don't stand in the red. Same thing with ESO. Same things with most, where the bad guy's at, swinging his sword, throwing magic. Don't stand in it.
Don't stand there.
Right.
Just a pro tip.
WASD to move your ass out of the fire.
That's right. So this player had been kicked. It was, like I said, Korean servers. So he got kicked from the group as a suspected bot because he was doing exactly that. He was standing in the red, this and that. And it turned out, actually, I don't know how they found this out, but it was revealed that it was actually an older gentleman playing the game with the help of his grandson and his grandson's friends.
That's curious.
Yeah, because it says here, the good news is that the community immediately rallied around the player in question, nicknaming him Grandpa of Light, which is a play on both the in-game designation of Warrior of Light and the horrible Japanese television series Daddy of Light, and offering as much help as they were able to give. So while the odds are the player in your group who seems to be Miss Mechanics is not a 66-year-old retiree who's still learning to play the game in his first MMO, you can't discount the possibility. So, yeah, apparently the whole community rallied around him in the game. They were probably helping him out with, like, tips and, like, hey, we'll take you through this dungeon and we'll tell you how to do it, and we'll give you, probably geared him up for things. And I just thought it was really cool. This,
that is pretty cool.
66-year-old retiree in Korea. As I can only imagine, imagine your grandpa at 66 and your grandkids, his grandkids, your kids, if you're the mom in this or the dad, helping grandpa play an MMO at his side,
I can never imagine it. Mine were of the World War II generation, so I can't even fathom it.
Yeah, and then our generation, we're gonna be like, hold on, son, I got this. I don't need your help.
Yeah.
With our gnarled, nubby fingers and our we'll have.
Back in our day, when you died, you had to go on a corpse run. I'll tell you what.
That's right.
EverQuest 1 remembers.
Looking for the bone rod. Looking for a bone rod does not mean what it means today.
Looking for the shining brass helmet.
So yeah, I thought that was a cute story.
That's good.
I always loved the old people gamer thing. There was what was the other one I had saw? I think it wasn't Stardew Valley. It was something like that. Oh no, it was Yunfei. You'll remember. They're in Smash Brothers. Animal Crossing. That's it. Someone's mom had played Animal Crossing, and she played it a lot. She played it like every day. And so her DS broke, and he was transferring her game and all her saves and stuff from the broken one to the new one. And out of curiosity, he checked how many hours she had played Animal Crossing. She was over the 7,000 hour mark.
Oh,
wow!
God, I mean, it's a good game, but she really liked that game. I could see Sib doing something like that one of these days. She's just gonna get. We're gonna look into how many of those casino games you've played, and it's gonna be like 500,000 hours.
No.
Yeah, a little bit.
I'm not saying anything.
But I thought that was. I don't know. I love old people playing video games that didn't grow up with it like we are. I just love that stuff. But unfortunately, this is not just about that. Apparently, we've got a role play or something topic thing. Is that a thing?
That's the thing nowadays.
That's the thing we do here.
It's a thing.
Okay.
Theoretically,
I have to say something real quick.
A
minute ago on the feed, your camera feed on Twitch,
mm-hmm.
I saw you get up from the camera and walk off, and I turned around to see you come back to your chair. I forget there's a delay. He's a wizard.
I was doing the Smallville Clark Kent thing where he's like, "Where's Clark at?" Oh, there he is.
It freaked me out because I totally forgot there was a delay. I was like, "What the hell?"
He had to use the sand powers, go down the store, get a Coca-Cola, and come back before you noticed.
It's instant transmission.
I just
No, I had to get my Rocket Brothers, the coffee of kings, when Starbucks is not really that great. Rocket Brothers is better, although Starbucks does in a pinch.
Well, I had to share that because it really freaked me out.
Yeah, I was wondering why you looked at me like, it's like, I just went up to get coffee. Dude, chill out. Just give me this stink eye like I Like
Rocket Brothers, the official coffee of the RPMMO radio show.
That's right. I got that look like I was drunk at a Christmas party and hit on her sister or something. I was like,
Yeah.
what did I do?
Dang, you never want that look. That's not a good place to be in.
Especially not getting up to get coffee.
It threw me. I was
Like, babe, what's wrong? I saw you looking at my sister. No, it was totally the Keurig. I was going for coffee. I saw that look. Oh, never living that one down.
That sounds like that was a personal conversation somebody had at one point.
that
one hit a little close to home, apparently.
I may or may not observe my brother and his dealings of, not the brother of the Navy, the other brother and his female woes. I just shake my head sometimes.
Oof, yeah. All right, well, moving on from Robotron there. They're going to go ahead into hit our topic on killing yourself.
For the dark topic, sir.
Wow.
Yeah, I was like...
Everybody should do it. Get on with it. Drink the Kool-Aid. I brought enough for everybody. Everybody have a sip. It's perfectly fine.
Thanks anyway.
Ignore the taste of almonds.
I'm not drinking anything you brought.
No,
Nope.
I refuse.
It's only going to affect those of the weak. You know, people with nut allergies.
Uh-huh.
You're a nut allergy.
I wish.
Well, I hear the robot now.
I wouldn't have to go any more parent conferences because I wouldn't be allowed into school. Stupid. All right, so actually this topic was brought to us by Erikas, one of the listeners out there, or Caves, if you've heard us talk about him in Roleplay. He plays an Argonian.
It's the Caves!
He's our WoW correspondent because he's the only
Yes.
guy we know that really plays WoW regularly. We ask him every now and then, I'm like, so what's WoW like? It's the same as it ever was.
And he says, well, you see here, if I have to tell you about my Mucklock Orc and the various lore involved with the set piece of heritage armor, and I will do so in a nice Canadian voice. I love our correspondent, man. He's such a stand-up.
Yeah. The problem with it is you're not allowed. You can't have him touch anything because he gets maple syrup on it.
I know, it's sticky everywhere when he shows up.
It really is. I mean, it's tasty, but it is sticky. And
Are you sure it's maple syrup?
I ain't never tasted it. I ain't going there.
I don't.
Thank you for saying it, Jazz.
I don't know what you're.
I'm just here to say what's on everyone's mind.
Oh, I get it. It was a semen joke.
Yeah, very good.
Nothing ruins it like explaining it. Dun-dun-dun. But yeah, Eric has brought this to us. We appreciate everybody that listens to the show. If you got a topic you want to hear us talk about, we will listen.
Yes.
We may not get to it right away, but we will get to it. So his thing was about, player killing off your character. And, like, why to do it, how to do it, who does that.
Do you regret it?
Do you regret it?
Yeah.
If you regret it, how to come back. Don't call it a comeback. There's a song.
I really want people to be sure so that if they come back, it makes sense. And it needs to tie in with the previous story, not just, ta-da! Hi, I'm back. Because I know too many people that did that.
Yeah,
and drove me insane.
at least to do the bare Marvel Comics minimum of, like, trying to half-ass explain why Jean Grey has come back to life for the 15th time since she's died again and again and again. Quit killing off my favorite character, fuckwads. Sorry.
The problem with that is if you do it in an odd story arc, you can really sabotage a lot of characters with you suddenly being back alive.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
But no clear reason why.
And there's a lot of people that do it because rather than rolling a new character, God forbid, or starting a new story, oh my God, that's too hard. We're just going to bring back the character that had its head cut off and burned in a fire and the body was cut into pieces and fed to sharks.
Thrown in a tar pit, had that tar pit frozen, launched into space, had that piece of space explode in a nova.
Yeah.
I did that once, but I bit the bullet and bought a rename.
Yeah, see, well, and I've done it too. I did it with Xanis, but...
Xanis had a reason that made sense because he was taken away by the dragons.
Phoenixes.
The Phoenixes, sorry. So it made sense that he could come back because he was never actually solid when he came back the second time. He was, but I mean, he wasn't alive in the normal sense.
Yeah. But all right, well, let's get into all that stuff then. So that's thank you, Erikas, for the topic. We appreciate not having to use our brains and think of one ourselves. So it is true too. It's one of those things where it's not often you get to plan your own death. Usually it comes suddenly and by accidentally, like slipping in the bathtub, falling from the roof, putting up Christmas lights, attacked by a roaming band of wild babies. The usual things. Those fucking, they'll gum you from the ankles up. I'm telling you. It's just like.
It's probably because you said something about giving out baby hands.
So, all right. So with that, let's see why someone might want to kill off their character. I came up with three very basic things. There's there's nuance and things like that. But the first one is the typical one. Jazz. They're an altaholic. They've bought 15,000 versions of the game and have multiple accounts. Every one of those accounts filled up with the maximum number of characters.
So, and if you're not careful, that person starts role-playing amongst themselves their own cartoons, and then they never see people again. It's a tragic condition.
I have to say, having 2 accounts was very convenient doing my story arc.
Yes, it does come in handy. But that's not really an altaholic thing. That's just me making fun of Jazz because I don't remember. How many accounts did you have in EverQuest 2?
2.
That's too many.
I had 2 accounts and 23.
Yeah, of course that was the difference. EverQuest 2, you could have like 5 billion characters on your account. So with altaholics, killing off a character often isn't really all that big a deal, as they're usually you didn't max out all 23 of them, for example. And if the story came to it and somebody needed to be killed off, then no big deal.
I had 12 max characters.
Yeah, that's still quite a bit. But so altaholics are they're the first one. The other one is kind of like what I did. Long-term player that's no longer enjoying the game and quitting, and you want to give the character a proper send-off. I think you also did that too, didn't you? With
but
Uni?
I think I brought her back for like a dream sequence. Xanis was happening. I remember you asked me. But yeah, mine was more the third one that's on there though.
Ain't never gonna happen. People that just won't kill them off no matter what.
There should have been another one.
Oh, there's only the 3. That was the 3 there. What was yours? What were you thinking?
Mine was you've role-played yourself into a corner.
Oh,
and there are people that have an outside influence, and it was just too messy.
Yeah, this was more of the, just the typical kind of thing that would come up.
What is the ain't never going to happen? I might not understand what you mean by that.
The ones that no matter what happens, they're never going to kill their character off. Like, they're incapable of doing it.
I don't think I had any character like that.
No, well, you didn't, but there are, those people out there.
Oh, yeah. No, I was always willing to kill off any of my characters.
No, there are those. I mean, I wasn't willing to do it on Xanis until I was willing to do it on Xanis, but when it made sense and I was leaving the game and it was no longer a big deal, Daybreak Games, fucking Daybreak Games. God, I hate those guys. So
you were still SOE when you left, though.
No, it had transition the first time, but the reason I left for permanently for real, that was Daybreak. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Permanently for real.
The for real, like I'm never
for reals this time.
Never, until they sell off the franchise, it's not going to happen. There's just no way in hell I'm giving those assholes any more money.
When Xanis, when his team died or went away, it was not Trash. Ren thought he'd won. He was like, "My goodness, my adversary's gone."
Yeah.
Now what do I do? I guess I can jack with.
It's the whole Batman Joker thing. Without Joker kills Batman. He's like, well, now what?
Crime has no punchline anymore.
Goes to college, gets a degree,
Yeah, goes to college, gets a degree, works at Burger King.
He started plotting with Hilder and really buddy trying to do a hostile takeover, but then his daughter got the seat of power, and he was like, "This life is getting really boring without Xanis around."
Yeah. So, all right. Well, those are kind of like three basic alcoholics and long-term players that, for whatever, and people that just, there's a lot. There's frankly there's a lot of them. But those are like three kind of main things. But we'll get back to those here in a bit. The first thing the other first thing we want to get to is why would somebody want to kill their character off?
You get highly invested with your character.
Why? Yeah.
You don't want to turn it loose.
Yeah, and the first one I really have is, and I think this is the more usual one, even outside of everything else. It's just a player ran NPC, quote unquote, which it's not really a non-player character because that's played by a character. But we kind of all know what that means. These are usually things for one-off stories or a short story arc, like Chattereel. Chattereel could very well end up dead at the end of this, and if that happens, I really don't give a shit. He's level 3, whatever.
I had my orc story. We just killed off one of my characters that I just created just for that story. I mean,
yeah,
Travar, yeah.
Yeah, and if he had somehow survived or something, you would have just rolled with it until he was no longer necessary. But he got killed off.
And we've got one we're holding on to that we don't even know if he's going to survive or not.
Yeah, still up in the air.
Bully's brother, Fezdiri.
The chicken grease covered Khajiit?
Yep.
Yeah, the grease covered Khajiit. Yep.
Chicken grease. Got to get the chicken grease. Chicken grease is what makes it delicious. He was a gross little turd. But a lot of these, the NPC ones, they're for, it's really just for like the love, you can make these NPC characters and just use them to advance a narrative, and you don't have to worry about the consequences of a character being killed off. I'm not really willing to kill off the character that we spent a couple hundred hours of gameplay getting up and unlocking, like ESO, unlocking all the way shrines and all the books and all that shit just to kill it off for a storyline. Skip.
It's kind of rough, yeah.
Which, you still have to be careful not to get that mentality. You always have to act like your character can be killed off. That's actually not something I put in here, but now that I think of it, that's a very good point. I'm glad I came up with that.
It is, in the current story arc we're doing, I actually am going to play with that theme of killing your tune off.
Yeah.
Like constant reaction kind of things. And then, of course, everyone wants to kill the bad guy. I put a twist on that. So, of course, you could kill the bad guy, but you're really not killing the bad guy, so it's going to be horns of a dilemma when it comes down to it. Spoiler alert, but it should be interesting for the players.
Yeah. So with the NPCs, that's definitely probably the most usual way somebody's going to make something that gets killed off. It's just not worth. I mean, there's not a lot of storylines out there that are worth just killing your character off.
I killed off a character that I'd had for quite some time.
Right. There's, like I said, there's not a lot.
Before I brought him back.
There was also, I forget in ESO, Yasin, something, her name's, I can't pronounce it, and whoever she was with, the werewolf thing, he actually let himself be killed off by her, which kind of shocked everybody. Everyone's like, because he was an established character and things like that in ESO. So that one kind of came as a surprise. But it does happen, but a lot of times I think there's other things where like they're just ready to go, or some of the other things we'll get to here. Another reason someone might do this is some people just don't give a shit.
Sure.
I'm not one of them, but there are role players out there that they don't get attached to their characters as tightly, as some people do, and they'll just up and kill them off. This does tend to happen. It does tend to happen more often than sometime. I can't say it happens a lot, but it has happened. The problem with this is a lot of the people that have that mentality that don't get like some sort of emotional or enjoyment attachment to their character, they don't tend to stick around as long before moving on to some shinier, newer MMO or some other, character. Or if they do, alternatively, they just keep killing and rezzing the same character over and over, which don't do that. But
please don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that. But
it's just so
it's cheap.
Yeah, you're gonna kill off your character, and every time you make this big dramatic exit, and then 3 months later, oh, he didn't actually die.
Yeah, that's irritating.
It's just like, but he did die, and we chopped him up into little bitty pieces and fed him to hogs. I don't really think he's coming back. Well, that wasn't actually him. You were mistaken.
He has Deadpool's regenerative abilities, and as long as a single cell survives, he can regenerate.
It's kind of like
He's
the
a
boy that
super
cried
duper
wolf.
vampire.
Eventually, people get tired of it.
Yeah, it does get old.
Yeah. Like I said, it cheapens your character.
Yeah, it really does, and I don't think I'm alone in this. I've always had especially if I get a character I really enjoy playing, like Xanis or I less so right now. Tarvala or Draxus is currently. Drexilis is currently one of my favorites, and I get attached to them. I want them to do well. I want people to like them or hate them in the way of some of them, depending on who the people are around them. But I always get an attachment to them. I'm assuming I'm not alone in that.
You're not.
No,
you're really not.
Not at all.
Yeah.
I mean, going back from EQ to ESO, I mean, Gormal, Trap, Rufus, like all these other side tunes I make. I'd be cool if the roleplay played out better, that the character would just die horribly. But I don't enjoy turning loose of a character because you invest so much time in building that character up. It's like you said when you said wire the trees. You spend all this time tending that character, and then to have them a senseless end. Sometimes it's really great for the story. Sometimes it's still heart wrenching because you're like, man, I love that freaking stupid Khajiit. Now he's gone.
Yeah, exactly. We've ran across the people that just they don't get attacked. I mean, it's just like playing a single player game. With one without any story or thing like that. I don't know. I'm trying like Bomberman. It's like getting attached to
Now see, every time that I've ever met somebody who said that it's just an RP and they don't care.
They care.
They care. Because they don't want their character to die either. And I don't know why people act that way. And I have met some people that are like, if he dies, and that's fine. But the same person, the one person I knew that would permadeath their character, quote unquote permadeath, brought them back 16 times over 10 years.
My goodness.
Wow.
You can't sit here and tell me with this. And I told him this finally, and he got really mad at me. He was like, I don't mind if my character dies. I'll roll a permadeath. It's not permadeath. Stop calling it that. I don't think you understand what that word means. And he was like, are you mad at me? I'm like, dude, don't call it permadeath. How many times has your character died? How many? Tell me. I'm waiting.
More like vacation.
Yeah, you're taking a vacation from the game. Totally get that. But let's not call it permadeath because he's going to be back in 6 months to a year.
Don't call it a comeback. I've been here before, and before, and before, and before, and before. You get the point.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's permakill means, okay, for those that may be in this situation, if you're one of them, perma is short for permanent. Permanent is to be forever.
Yeah, this guy was married to one of my characters, and when we were first
permanently.
Well, Toyana. Nothing's ever really permanent with Toyana, but he tried to kill one of my other characters, Vakarina, and ended up getting put to death, which he said he was fine with, and he was put to death and he was buried with honors, and he said he was done playing the game and he left. And a year later, he walked by my character with the same name. And I sent him a tell, and I was like, is that actually William? Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's back.
Oh, yeah, I remember that guy.
And it was like, oh, really? And that's what started the roller coaster, because each time he was brought back by a god who was using him as a messenger, so he never actually dies.
Vessel.
Yeah, he's a vessel of whatever. And I love him. I love this guy. He's a nice guy. I never had a problem with him personally. But this particular habit he had with this one character, he brought him back and brought him back and brought him back and brought him back and brought him back. And he had another character similar. He did the same thing several times. So when I finally lost my temper with him, and I'm like, let's just call it temporary death. Let's not call it permadeath because it's not permanent death. You're going to be back in 6 months. So please don't do that. If you want your character to die, cool. Let's call it that.
Yeah.
But most people that I've met that have been like, I don't care whether my character lives or dies, bring the same character back. If not in the same game, in another game, saying it's the same person.
Yeah, they transferred worlds and they don't know how they got here.
Yeah.
It's not, which, by the way, not as original as you think it is.
Yeah, there's like, whole TV series is about that, so let's just,
Ooh, what was that? Who's that?
What was that? Was that me?
Well, I don't know if it was you or not, but it was right after you talked.
Was it Strafay? No? Strafay, you there? Nope.
Oh god, the halflings took him.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Knew it, little fuckers. Well, little bastards. Yeah, we're trying to. I know Strafay's was really bad, so we're having him restart his Discord real quick, and that might be what that was. Was it kicking on? I don't know.
Discord is having issues.
It is.
They are
really bad tonight.
It's not updating. It's got lag. It's saying I have messages, for example, when I don't.
Mm-hmm.
It's not updating.
Yeah.
It won't get rid of the new messages even after I read them. It's
yeah.
like, okay,
I've noticed that
guys,
too.
fix your coding, okay?
Yeah, I'm
Please?
wondering. I actually wonder if it has something to do with, like I said, their popularity, and now they've got the Valve-like gaming thing on there too. So people, they get a massive bunch of people downloading it. I wonder if it's putting more strain than they're able to. They're growing faster than they can keep up with. Maybe.
Yeah, would be my guess because, geez.
Yeah, because tonight everybody sounds like hot garbage.
Yeah.
When you're,
I find that stuff like this tends to happen during like HEDQ and like the oh my god, what is that MOBA called?
Oh, big tournaments and stuff of popular games
stuff,
of League of Legends and Dota 2.
Dota, yep. When they have big events like that.
Yeah, no, you're probably right. Like yeah, then they got a couple extra 100,000 people on it all at one time in some random thing. So again, apologize for the audio quality if you're just coming in. It's nothing we can do about it.
Nope.
It's out of our hands, and as much as I'd love to pay for something to do this on, there's really nothing better. Zoom is kind of a thing. It sucks. Skype is garbage.
The only thing that I think that we could use that might be worth looking into if once we get money coming in, if we ever do, would be to record each of us on our own thing, but we wouldn't be able to be live with that. So I'm not sure. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, and I'm not really willing to give that part of it up because I like the Twitch thing.
I would have liked being live. Yeah.
Yeah.
But our live show might not be as. I mean, we'll have to use Discord or something no matter what for live, but we could improve the quality of the actual show that we put up for download by having recording. But that's the only option I've been able to find.
Yeah. Well, and I will say I've ran into a problem with that too, or seen problems that come with that, where somebody's file gets corrupted, so then you've lost an entire person that's still being responded to in a show.
Ah.
Yeah. Or somebody or not that it's ever happened on this show. For example, someone forgets to hit record. It's never happened here.
Never.
But on other lesser podcasts, I would say.
Yeah.
I'm part of a few. I check on a few podcast forums, and I've seen people with these horror stories of doing an interview with somebody, like a really good somebody, and they're like, and it was lost. It didn't record fully, or it was corrupted, or this or that. And I'm like, I'd be horrified. Because, they're not going to do it again. You're just kind of out of luck. Kind of a bummer. So, all right. Well, again, apologize for the audio. Moving on. Moving on from the just don't care people to the I don't care people. The other reason somebody might be, like we said above, is game's just not good or fun anymore. And frankly, there's a few people I wish would stop playing when they're constantly complaining about the game not being good or fun anymore, and they still stick around just to bitch and moan and let everyone know that they're not happy with this not good or fun game anymore.
Well, boss, misery loves company, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Drives me nuts.
Oh, hi Rahanar, by the way. who is typing as me in the chat.
Hey, Rahana, by the way. So not having fun with the game.
If you're not enjoying the game,
yeah,
there are plenty of other games.
Lots.
Like it's not like back in the day of EQ1 where there was literally nothing else.
Yeah, like there you could go to EQ1 or the Ultima,
or like Ultima Online,
yeah, or some mud. Meridian 59, was that it? 54. I forget what Meridian was. But yeah, and EQ2 or EQ1 was the only 3D based one, like for years and years and years. So yeah, those days are over. But you know, with the fun thing, you know, it is an MMO, and they, frankly, not to sound like my grandpa, but they really don't build them like they used to. You know, you know, they were originally meant to be persistent. You know, alternate world. They're supposed to be an online persistent world, like that. You could live and work and do all that stuff in. And nowadays they really are, they're just world theme parks. They're not a persistent online world. They're just a big, you know, theme park. And, you know, like me, I love Disneyland as much as anybody else. But if I had to spend a month there every day of every hour, I'm pretty sure after that month I'd be ready to leave. You know?
Variant Studios remembers Ashen's days of golf course runs and boat rides.
Yeah, of course. If we leave Straffe, we got to go ride Star Tours at least one more time, though.
Okay, fine.
So I still love Star Tours, especially the new one. But you know, once everything is, you know, big or shiny is done, you know, these games can get boring. They do get repetitive.
Well, they can, but I think, again, as role players, I think people need to not kill themselves off and just wander. Like what we did for Silver Circle is Silver Circle's still there, and what happened is that everybody that was integral to Silver Circle went to the city, which is another place in another dimension, basically not dimension.
Yeah, dimension in a way. Yeah, plane. That's it.
Another plane of existence where it's basically another planet somewhere. And they built a city high away from the people that live there. And they're just living there. And
not everyone, but I digress.
No. But until
all the cool people.
Until Noreth is destroyed, some people are still there.
You know, they can have Castle Grayskull. Sometimes you need a Snake Mountain away from those fools. You know, it is what it is.
All the cool people.
No,
you blistering, bubbling booba!
Even Tilder went to the city.
Yeah, that's a good reason for Ren not to go to the city.
Well, no, he's not in the city. But he's nearby. He has his own coven.
He is the city.
Yeah.
This is my city. This is great. Was it The City from The Tick? That's just what it was called, The City.
Pretty much.
I love that. That's a great show.
All my stuff.
I am the Midnight Bomber. What bombs at midnight? It was the Midnight Bomber. What bombs it? So, but the thing too, and as great as these games are these days, you know, and there's all sorts of great stuff. RP does help extend. For me, I really think RP helps extend the life expectancy of an MMO. But even that can only go so far if the game really starts, like EverQuest 2, the game really started to take a downward spiral from the development side. And I saw somewhere, I think it was one of the Discords, the Shadows and Dreams one Jazz has, somebody had said there was some sort of role play thing about like the current RP events going on in EQ2, and they're like, and there aren't any. Was basically the long and short of it, because it's just so bad. Screwed up one of my favorite games of all time so bad. You may have noticed that theme, but it's just really. There's just so many. I can't even say there's so many good RPG or MMORPGs out there, but there are so many great games these days, and by the time you start getting tired of one, or it seems to be the thread lately, where they'll come out bad, like Final Fantasy XIV and ESO did, just miserably broken and not great. And then you give it a couple years, and they turn the boat around. You know, in the case of Final Fantasy, they launched a Realm Reborn, and revamp the entire game practically. Or in ESO, they do the one Tamriel and make all the giant mega servers, and everything just kind of gets better. They really learn how to do exactly what it is they were supposed to do in the first place. They straighten all, they learn from their mistakes. That's the way it goes. You're supposed to learn from your mistakes, and these developers finally do. So, hey, I was playing EQ2, and now they've not learned from anything, and they've fallen into a rut, so I'm going to go back to ESO, and oh, look, it's a great game. Or Final Fantasy XIV, oh, look, it's a great game.
So don't kill your character off, because you might need options to go check it out.
Yeah, and with Final Fantasy XIV, my character's still there. I mean, the guild I was in wasn't like that big a deal. Like, if I went back, they'd be like, no one would be like, "Oh, I loved you. Who were you? Oh, you're so." They would have no clue. It was a fun guild for a short stint, but it wasn't something overly memorable. So that kind of stuff, it just kind of comes and goes. There's an ebb and flow. Nobody stays in an MMO forever. It's just not possible anymore, I don't think.
I think I went from EQ 3 different times. The first time was for a year. The second time was for 2.5 years. And then the last time, of course, is permanent. I don't plan to ever go back.
Did you say EQ 3 or 2?
2.
She said 3, but I knew she meant 2.
Okay. Did I say 3?
Yeah,
okay.
I was like, wait, what did I miss?
You didn't. It was called EverQuest Next. They took $100 from me and $200 from Jazz.
Yeah. I didn't get on that band train.
Fuckers! I'm still pissed about that. Anyway, I'm okay now.
So anyway, speaking of bad experiences. Another reason to kill off a character that seems to come up. Uni, I think you had this one time or two. Is the it does happen more with new role players a lot of time, more often than not. Is the decision to kill off characters comes from coming across, frankly, a bad role player that treated them poorly, or it got personal and then they treated them poorly, or they're just, some people are also just tender-headed man-childs that got, took it that way even though it wasn't.
Or having boyfriends.
Right.
Like, get involved with your character in game, and that's just messy.
Or girlfriends. It's equally derpy.
Yeah. Yeah, and the thing with...
What are you doing? What do you spend so much time over there?
Who's
that?
Why are you dancing with her at a ball once?
Oh my
and
goodness.
It gets abusive, and it gets scary, and then... Yeah.
And then there's dead mice left on your doorstep, but you don't own a cat, so it's a little uncomfortable.
It's a little creepy.
Wow.
The other one too, like what you had said too, that kind of falls into this for the bad experience is when writing yourself into a corner. I know you did that on was it Uni, or did you just do that on another character? I can't remember, Yunfei.
No, it was Yunfei. It was a combination of one, I wasn't enjoying Monk anymore. I wasn't enjoying the class anymore.
Yeah.
But I loved the character with all of my heart.
You love the idea of a monk, but not playing a monk.
Yeah. But it was partly the boyfriend getting involved with the character thing, and then...
God damn that Rahanar. Am I right?
No, it wasn't Rahanar.
Ah, darn. Now I know that.
Yunfei didn't actually meet Rahanar.
Mm-mm.
But, not in-game, but...
Yeah, you come across... You got basically... into a bad roleplay situation with not a great person that ended up showing eventually he was not a great person, and that wrote you into a corner.
Yep, and it ended up getting abusive both in real life and in game.
Not good.
Unfortunately, I wasn't talking to anybody out at the time. Like, I probably should have gone to you, Ashen,
yeah, because we were still
talking.
I was still your friend.
Oh yeah, you should have come and told me, because I would have it would have ended differently.
I think you actually in game. I think Vaka actually kicked his ass once.
So
like
satisfying.
in character. But
Yeah.
We had that on the flip side. I had a stalker that followed me from Kinos when I went over to the Freeport, the bad side, or whatever it was. And she followed me over there. She kept doing the same derpy stuff, and I politely OC explained to Jazz what was going on. And then I set her up to commit a crime against the guild, and then which she did. And then Jazz ate her lunch in character. It was great.
It was fun, and she did not handle it well. It was spectacular.
She rage quit, but yes.
Yeah,
that's one of my biggest regrets about EQ2, I think, is that I should have spoken up, and I should have... I was just so shy, and, like, I didn't want to cause drama. I didn't want to cause trouble.
I don't want to be a problem to anybody. Quit it!
No, yeah, really. Like, I don't like conflict and stuff, but I should have said something because I really regret killing Yunfei when I did.
Mm-hmm.
And I
did
miss her.
seem, when I heard about it, I was like, really? I was honestly shocked. Yeah.
Well, she died in Xanus' arms, and I cried. I cried for like days after that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Is it bad if Ren threw a party? I mean, that's horrible. That's tragic. Terrible.
Yeah. He was passing out little pieces of her wings as souvenirs.
Now, see, he could never get that because Gormal, after it was all said and done, was like, "I'm gonna get them wings. I got wing soup stew up,
deep fried Fey wings.
Deep fried Fey wings.
Yeah,
I didn't have any clue at all how big. Oh my god, it's my cat. That was really graceful, Fatty.
Special guest, Yunfei's cat.
Sorry.
Was it Tuna?
It was Tuna. She tried to jump on my desk and missed.
Graceful, like a hippo out of waters, just graceful.
Yep. She's giving me a.
Because it was your fault she didn't hit the desk right. Yeah, fucking cats. That's how they are.
But after Yunfei's death, I played Alika, the Defiler, a lot more, which, by the way, was a class that I absolutely loved. And people would send me tells and stuff. Like, I had no idea how big of an influence the character Yunfei had on, like, the server, basically. Like,
the people around you, yeah.
Yeah, and people... I didn't know this until later, but I guess they had a big old funeral for me, and a whole bunch of people showed up. I was like, wow, that was really touching.
I had I really, after Xanus, I left, and the first time Xanus died, the second time was not that big a deal because I was only on there for like an extra couple months after that. But it's kind of like, you're like, huh, neat.
Yeah. Like,
I had no idea. I knew Jazz character would be upset, and she'd be like, it's a bummer. But I understand, but...
Wait a minute, how many times did you die?
Me?
Yeah.
I was going the Jean Grey route, so no less than 15.
Okay.
No, he only...
You didn't die whenever I was in
Well, he didn't die the second time.
He really didn't die the first time, technically, either.
No,
but
he just they took him.
Like, had to go away. He couldn't... it was part of... Okay. It was basically supposed to be like death, but to pay off a debt, he had to go away permanently.
The real scheme was, every time Xanus would die, Ren would throw a huge party. So every time he'd come back, Ren would, he would
he would throw another party. But
then he'd have to throw another party when he died again. So he was systematically breaking Ring God's bank so he could finally defeat the evil.
Then he would
That's what the real story was.
And then when he came back, he would throw a pity party.
Yeah, he did the pity party. Which was...
See, and
Are you kidding me? Yeah.
The second death was whenever we were playing together.
He only.
Okay, I remember you leaving, but I didn't remember you actually.
Yeah, the first time, was the Phoenixes, and that was the whole end of
And I wasn't there.
10-year-long Phoenix saga kind of a thing.
Yeah, it was a long story arc.
Yeah. So the other one, too, after bad experiences, and this is the good one. This is the one with the crazy people. The Rage Quit!
Oh, man.
Oh, my God.
Those Rage Quitters.
Yo.
They didn't get their way. Something in RP. The RP had consequences they didn't want, and they're going to show you, and they're dead just like that. Like, bam, I'm dead. Ha, now how do you feel, asshole, for making me have to have consequences to my shitty role play. We've seen it happen.
It's always like a poorly written, just really cheesy death, too.
And they get mad because we just move on, and they we're saying, I'm supposed to have a huge impact. Why aren't you pitying? Why aren't you sad? Well, you're crazy, bro. Clearly,
we made a ham. What else do you want? You got a funeral ham.
We have a funeral ham. Aren't you happy about that? Come on, dude. I mean, this is expensive.
There's two things you get. You get when you die. You get funeral potatoes, which is a special kind of. Mormons will know this. It's a special kind of potatoes that only come out during funerals. It's just a potato dish, but it's delicious. But you only see it at funerals.
It's a nightshade spud, bro.
Yeah. It's delicious. It's got a sprinkle of cheese on top, and it gets baked in the oven. It's got a hard kind of cheesy crust.
Hint of sea salt and butter?
Oh, absolutely. You got to have the sea salt and butter. I mean, it's not potatoes if you don't use sea salt and butter. I mean, I just use table salt. I'm not rich like Texas people, and they're oil baron money, apparently, but you go with your sea salt. You're from Texas. They're all oil barons down there. That's what I've heard. I've seen Dallas, that documentary. I know about it.
Yeah, that's a pretty good documentary, I tell you what.
The new documentary was not so good.
No, not so much.
Not so much. I was ashamed when they killed JR, though. Yeah. Anybody not born in my age group, I don't remember who shot JR. I just remember it was...
I don't remember who shot JR because I wasn't permitted to watch that because my mother said it was sex trash.
Yeah, in the 1980s.
Yeah, it was. She would not let me watch it because
they are Ewing.
Wow, sex trash.
It was weird because I was a small boy when that was on the air, Ashen, and I remember seeing it because I lived south of Dallas. I was like, hey, that's happening around here. This must be real. I was a little bitty kid, you know.
Well, yeah, it's a documentary. I mean, they
for sure.
Yeah, it's the documentary Dallas. It's about what happens in Dallas, which is why it goes so long without the Cowboys winning.
Yep, that's true.
So the Rage Quitters.
He who shall not be named.
Right. There's one in particular, but we've also heard stories and seen others that do this.
Emulate it. Yes, it's definitely
basically spoiled brats.
When it first happened, I had never experienced anything like that.
He was the first for me too. Yeah.
Now I see it quite a bit, and I'm like, oh, look, it's another one of those guys. He who shall not be named.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
And it never fails because I think they all have a script that they get in the mail and they follow. It's really funny because a lot of these people that do this kind of stuff all follow the same script.
Yeah. It's born out of emotionalism. Like it's a knee-jerk reaction. I'll show you kind of thing.
Right? It really is. It really is. Oh yeah. Well, how about this? I'm going to ruin your role play by killing them off. Oh, thank God! It's like getting
the equivalent of getting mad, taking your GI Joes, and going home.
Yeah. Or getting divorced from a horrible, horrible, life-sucking succubus. Not that I would personally know.
What was that? I'm responding to people in the chat. What are you doing?
I said it's also like getting divorced from a horrible, horrible, life-sucking succubus. Okay. You and I, at the moment, are still married, though, depending on how well you listen, that may change.
Oh, no.
Hey, don't make promises you aren't willing to keep.
I'll show you. I'm getting a divorce. I'm leaving this podcast right now.
Don't make promises you can't keep, sir. Don't make promises you can't keep.
Well, Stibbs, now that you're the only one left, I guess you're running the show.
I still control the mute buttons. Remember that.
Someone's cat.
I was going to say, which cat is that?
That would probably be one of mine.
Okay. But sorry. The thing with the Rage Quitters too is that while they will show you by killing themselves, often it also ends in a miraculous resurrection a few months to a couple years later.
Yeah.
Or a couple days later.
Or a couple days later. Or at times depending on how quickly and
or when he realizes that you've moved
on
on with your role play regardless and he wants to show you, he brings himself back and then pretends that he was never dead in the first place.
So just to point out how great this tactic works over the planning it out and going out on a friendly note. Jazz, how long did your character Vaccarina mourn after Crazy Man killed himself?
Well, I mean, she probably
right. I'm just going
dealt with it for months.
Right. Okay. Months. That's all I needed. And after Xanis died...
Years.
There you go.
Marry for
That's
years.
the difference.
Yeah.
There you go. Right there. That's the difference.
Yeah. I played for months after he died that she was really upset, but she also got married right away, which is one of the reasons why he was furious, was because she wanted
by
to
the way,
keep
she
her seat on
got
the
married.
council.
It was me.
So
It was me. She got married to me.
She got married to Xanis, and because she had to keep her position, and they were not, man and wife for quite some time, but I couldn't get him to understand that.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a name. He was her friend, and he offered to help, so she would lose her place. And
he wasn't a piece of shit.
Yeah,
which just goes a long way.
And they eventually fell in love and ended up actually having a relationship, but it didn't happen right away.
Yeah, it also didn't hurt that out of character, I wasn't a piece of shit.
Yes, he was, and you weren't. Yeah,
yeah, makes a big difference on how long you can keep your characters together. Don't be a piece of shit. Good rule of thumb.
Yeah, works better.
Unless you get my.
And then don't come back and try to paint her as the bad person because she moved on, and so you're saying that
you're a whore. You're just whore, and you never loved me. Okay, calm down, Spider-Man 3.
You were deceased.
You died. Matter of fact, and the thing was, is when this person did this, I tried to talk him out of it for like 3 or 4 days. I was like, dude, don't do this. I get you're pissed at me, but don't do this. Because the long-reaching consequences of him dying are pretty extreme because of the way we build our roleplay. And he insisted that this is what he wanted to do. He deleted all his characters, literally.
Actually deleted them.
He deleted all his characters.
Which I will, till the end of my dying days, regret not instantly taking his name on an alt.
Yeah. Well, remember, that did happen eventually, and I suffered for that. So thank you for not doing that, because it didn't end well for me regardless.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I wouldn't have even played it. I'd have just taken the name.
Yeah. That would have been funny, because then he would have had less of a chance of arguing about it if it was...
Yeah, I forgot somebody actually did do that, didn't they?
Yes, they did. They did. After he was coming back around, after a couple of years, he came back and started harassing me again. And he basically, every 3 or 4 months, he'd delete his character and remake him. And it happened...
I remember those
regularly.
days. My goodness.
Yeah, and whenever somebody deleted their character, if they were on your friends list, you got this long stream of logs in, logs out, logs in, logs out, logs in, logs out. And it's like 20 lines of text.
It was a weird glitch, yeah.
Right. So you always knew when somebody deleted their characters, which is how we knew when he was doing it originally what he was up to. But anyway, I didn't have him on my friends list anymore. He was on Ignore. But one of my other associates, an officer in my guild, had put him on his friends list. You didn't have to ask back then. You could just put anything on your friends list under this mutual okay shit that they do now. Yeah. Which I suppose is a good thing, but back then, yeah.
Still,
So he saw him delete his character, promptly logged out, went and made a character under that same name. So then when he made his character and came back, the name was taken. Now, funny? Yes. And it was funny.
Hysterical? Also, yes.
And I was like, oh my God, what have you done? Do you understand this man is insane? You just, oh my God. And it was bad. It lasted 4 months of crap I took for that, including getting contacted by SOE at the time that I was harassing him.
Yeah.
And I was like, I am not in charge of this person.
Yeah.
He's not my child, and he's not married.
I'm a guild leader. I don't have any say. Go on, contact him.
I told him not to do this explicit thing, and he did it anyway. This is not my fault. Yell at him.
Yeah, but that's the... good times, good times. All right, so the rage quitters, that's definitely one.
They're a whole new breed of person.
Oh yeah, and unfortunately, they're on the rise of the internet rage quitter thing. And,
they are.
Yeah,
they are.
People just not used to always getting their way. It doesn't end well. You're never always going to get your way unless you're amazing like I am, and then it just happens to fall into place. Yeah. All right. So sometimes too, the best way to advance a story is to actually, funny enough, kill off the character.
It's true.
It is.
Perhaps one that no longer has the role play or has grown into something maybe you don't like, or the RP simply leads. It leads to it. There's just no way getting around it. It's, everything led to that, and
or if everything's gone pretty well and everybody's comfortable and you want to shake everything up from the ground up.
That's definitely a way to go about it.
Like I did that with what was his name originally? Kanan. I had to think of what his name was because it was Eli, for 5 years, but he was Kanan originally. And his roleplay had stalled out. I wasn't really getting any roleplay on him, and I decided that we were in the middle of a story arc where he was taking on the super big bad Mayong, and I rolled badly and decided that he lost his role. I was going to go ahead and follow through with it, so I killed him.
Yeah.
It made sense. But it also made sense that his sire wasn't going to let him die. So I had that in the background that it was possible he could survive.
Right.
And years later, I brought him back in another story.
And that is one thing, there are ways, the player killing thing doesn't always have to be permanent. The thing I did, the story I did with Chatteril, that was a alt character in, an alt ordinator character of Sabea, who's the guild leader in Servants of the Tribunal. I always want to say Temple after all these years still. So I went to her and I was like, okay, so stick with me a second. I want to kill off your character. She's like, go on. And I told her, I was like, all right, so I want to we're trying to establish him as a bad guy because everyone's eventually supposed to kind of revolt against him, which, I mean, he's not going to take a lot of persuasion at this point. But I was like, all right, so you got this character. It just happened that Thursday before, it was unplanned. She was they were lined up for sermon, and he got in her face, and she like grunted or something. He's like, "You got something to say to me?" And she grunted again. He's like, "When I ask you a question, I expect to be answered." And she said something, sir, which an ordinator you don't ever call. They're not military. You don't call them sir or ma'am. They're not like that. They're not militia. They're not that kind of thing. You call them by their rank, period. And so, and she's like, yeah. And she did it on purpose. And then he said, blah, blah, blah. That'll be, you don't call me sir. And she's like, ma'am. So then at that point, he's like, 10 lashes. And she said something else. And it's like 15. And it's like, she says, like, make it 20. And it's like, have her, I'm placing you under arrest for insubordination and blah, 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 blah. It just escalated quickly. And that's how that got into that situation. I was like, okay, since she's under arrest, let me kill her off. And we can, he can always, I have the backup of she'll actually die, but he'll be like, since he's not real big on Elm City anymore. He's seen so much shit and lost so many people. That's his motivation, is he's basically a disgruntled worshiper that doesn't even believe in what he does anymore. So he'll be like, if Aunt Sylvie wishes it, the clergy will bring her back to life. That's between them and her. It's if she's worthy of it. And so that's how that happened. You can kill your character off, but you also can, bring them back in a way. But there's realistic ways of doing that, especially to advance a story. Like in that case, it really worked out well that, man, he was really not liked at the end of that training session. It was, one of the other characters, ordinators, actually took a swing at him and cut his face. So they had that one, doing all sorts of stuff and had him lashed like 15 times or something like that. It's an escalation of shit moves. I actually have one in advance that I saw that I don't know how many people, maybe a couple listen, but I have something in mind that he's going to do when somebody says or does something stupid, and he's going to basically hand him a potted plant. This apparently happened in an actual boot camp. Hand him a potted plant and have them hold it around to replace all the oxygen that they're wasting.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I saw a story somewhere that a private in boot camp had asked some stupid ass question, so the drill instructor made him carry a potted plant for a week to replace all the oxygen he wastes.
It was so funny. He sent me the link in a message, and he goes, "I'm gonna do this."
Oh, I'm doing this for sure.
I read it. I was like, "That's gonna be good."
Yeah,
That's
so
really
yeah,
good.
killing off your character that can lead to RP. I see we have an Erikas in the waiting room. Is that true?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Oh my gosh!
It's our Canadian correspondent live in the show.
So with that, let's go live now to our Canadian correspondent Erikas, who is, if I remember right, actually live from Canada. Thanks for calling RPMMORadio, Erikas. What's going on, man?
Hi, thanks for having me tonight. There, let me put this maple syrup rumor to rest once and for all.
I'm sorry. You sound like your mouth sounds like it's sticky. Is it sticky?
No, it's because I have peanut butter, but besides the point. Conducting an experiment in my own lab, it does not work. All right, case closed.
Well, now we've all learned something. Canadians, even Canadians sound like they're underwater. This Discord thing just fucking sucks. This show's gonna sound so bad. I'm so sorry, everybody. It's just so bad.
I just was gonna say real quick too. I noticed on the Twitch chat, it's not the Discord feed. It's not coming up on the Twitch chat.
Yeah, I noticed that too. And I reset it and it still didn't come up. So it's Discord. So what can we do for you, Erikas? What you got? You're the one that came up with this idea. Yes. So what's your pick your brain on this?
It all depends on the scenarios you make characters go through. Like, I like to bring up one good example. When I first started role-playing back in Star Wars: The Old Republic, I was going through the noob phase of things. All right, what's the easiest race and whatever I can be? All right, let's do human. I'm a human. I'm sure able to play what I usually am, right? So we're all human. So and I realized, man, I'm just like a plain old mercenary. I can't get into this. Like, what was I going to do? So I'm like, how should I off my character and make this work? So it's like, brought to like the jazz character, Girif at the time. I was working under her. Brought her face first. All right, what do you want to talk about? I want to go get my Greg Goo drink at the cantina that she always does. And it's like, anyways, years ago, I can't remember what the whole speech was, but then I pretty much shot my character dead, blasted her pistol to the head down there, and she's like staring in disbelief, like, and Criff in their language. But then next thing I pull into our character conversation with her. Big old sat down in the chair. Like, you listen to me. This is what, like, well, no, I'm not aggressive. I'm just, poking fun at her. But, it's pretty much like, sure, this is what you want to do. Do you understand, like, the consequences are everything? Like, oh my goodness, you tell me all this now. I feel awful for doing this. Like, so she gave me a saving grace card, pretty much. All right, I'll give you like one more chance here with your character to make this work there, and not like give it a chance to roleplay more, get more interactive. It's like, all right, I'll do this. I'll give it another shot. And from here on then, I was so glad I stuck with this character without just killing off every single one I had early on.
Without just blowing all their heads off, right?
I don't like it.
Yeah, I think that was one of our first OOC conversations.
It
was.
Whoa.
Okay, you don't really want to do this, bud. Come on.
Yeah, see, that's the thing though. It's all the maple syrup gets in their brain and it slows down the thinking process. It's a Canadian joke again. Anyway,
I'll give you some credit.
Yeah, that never gets old.
It does.
Unlike you.
Also, boo.
Hey. She is a strong, independent woman, and I will treat her like a man. You suck.
That's the quality for you, kid.
Yes, I do, dear. I swallow, too. That's not the point.
Nice.
This is why we love Jess, because she can take it and give it right back.
Oh, she can take it all right.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so since this isn't the ERP episode, I'm starting to feel like there's a sexual harassment lawsuit pending on someone else being offended.
So back to killing your character and why you should or why you probably should.
Speaking of wanting to kill things, this conversation is one of them.
Are you blushing? Just a little.
Oh, it does.
Blushing.
It does happen occasionally.
He looks kind of red.
I'm verklempt.
Woohoo! I finally made him blush. You have no idea how hard it is.
That's right. You're right, Jazz. You have no idea.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, that went really sideways. Anyway, where were we?
Only when
drive this crazy train back on.
Only
track.
when I'm peeing afterwards, Jazz. Only when I'm peeing afterwards.
Oh my god.
So anyway, aren't you glad you called in, Erikas?
Yes, I had to double check my information. No, this is MMRP radio. Though.
Yeah, not ERPMMO radio. No, not yet. That's gonna be next year. So,
Bye, Erikas.
Well, I guess you're done.
Oh, I didn't know my time was
I
up.
thought he said he was leaving.
Apparently,
No, he can stay. I like him. He's fun.
Suddenly, it's a fucking Oscars. We're just gonna play him off the show. It's like da-da-da-da-da-da, bye.
Thought he said he was leaving. Be quiet.
He might have. I don't know. I can't understand anything he says. I don't speak Canada.
Oh,
Canada. I do.
Enough. I understand him.
All right. So you got anything else, Erikas, before we let you go for reals?
Just a little quick little spiel here to all those who have thoughts about wanting to off the character at some point, even for a different game, or if you want to try something fresh. You know, if you've been replaying this character for years, I know I have some of the same thoughts as well. But like, if you want to like try and make it as impactful as you can, like maybe let other characters know, even the people behind the characters, you've been playing with your character for a long time, and you know, like you want to do like, well, try to have a script, like you could do a script like kind of role play, like all right, this is how like these are gonna be with this certain person, and you know, hey, like I'm like my character died, this happened. You can't really intervene and stop it just on rolls or anything like that. But
yeah,
I mean you can try, but in the end, it's just going to delay the inevitable even longer. So,
yep, no, it's all good ideas.
I have a question too, real quick. I just thought of it. Whenever, because I know, I guess you play in several different games.
Yes, quite a bit.
Does that help keep it from getting monotonous and keeping it, you know, where you don't get as bored? Where, since you know you have other roleplay options in other games, and you don't feel like you have to worry about losing interest in a character, where you might get to where you want to kill him? Do you feel like that helped you?
It kind of does. It does put me in different source perspectives. There's different races, different characteristics and backgrounds. It's like I'm just going to create this character just for the purpose of, hey, I'm going to do something diabolical with this character. And in the end, I'm more than okay letting this character die in a fashion which suits, you know, the roleplay and its lore. So I'm not going to like do something. Oh, I made a mistake. I'm going to quickly kill him off and get away with scot-free. But
yeah.
But no, I guess we different variety of perspectives, differently in different MMOs, and how they do it, like different funerals too, as well. Like, oh, I have my character experience this kind of honorable death, cast away in a lake somewhere, I could fall off the water, fall by accident. But, but yeah, that doesn't give me a lot more to think about, and whether or not I want to go through something like that.
Yeah, I just knew you'd played several different games, so I was curious about that.
Yep.
And I thought you'd be a good person to ask. So,
thank you for that question.
Yeah, because I don't play. I have a real hard time myself playing multiple MMOs and role playing across games like that. I've tried, and I always end up being like, I'm having more fun here. I want nothing to do with you. You're old. Go away. You over here, you're old. I don't want you anymore. This one here.
See, I've had the same issue too, because I've tried to go WoW and play, you know, with Erikas, and it was like, no, I'm having too much fun in you, so I don't want to shift.
Yep.
I don't want to go.
I don't want to share with you anymore.
But I know you play WoW, and then you play Star Wars: The Old Republic too, and RP and those. So I thought it would be a nice question to ask.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
All right. Well, appreciate you calling in, Erikas, and thank you for the show topic.
Yeah.
All right. Well, get off my show. Get off my phone. There we go.
Sit back. Wow, boss. Been there.
All right. Well, seriously, though, Erikas, thank you for calling in. Appreciate it. Anybody that does want to call in, rpmradio.com/Discord. You join our Discord server. You throw yourself in the caller waiting room. When Rahanar gets back, he'll be there to check, make sure that you... I mean, basically, you're still going to sound like ass because Discord's doing it, but at least make sure that you're audible. And also that you're here and not wanting to talk about dead... what was it? A dead recently dead celebrity?
Yeah, dead celebrities.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, that was weird. Kids are stupid. So, all right, closing down here. There are a few, that's kind of the different things that happen. So, what is the impact that having a PK or player kill can have? First and foremost, kind of can, if you're not being the last one, the rage quitter, can create a lot of RP for those left behind. You know, the consequences of losing a lifelong friend or lover.
Spawns a lot of RP because people have to grieve and figure out what to do now that this person is gone. And I know after Xanis left, there was a lot of RP just dealing with the loss, and it took Macarena down. So it was really, and I know it was really hard for you because I took it like I rolled, and I knew how she was going to take it, and it was bad.
Yeah, and I will say one of the when Xanis died first time basically, or had to go away. I will say one of the greatest compliments I think I've ever had in roleplay is the number of people that said they were crying during it.
Oh yeah.
You know,
in the funeral,
like
actual, so.
Actually in the real world that they were actually crying. Sad, because
it was hard.
It's very flattering that you could have something you created has an emotional, real world impact on somebody to the point of physical tears. Is probably the most flattering thing, or the biggest compliment you could possibly get from fellow role players and players like that. It was very touching. I was surprised because I don't think all that much of myself.
Well, you should because you're an awesome role player.
Xanis touched a lot of lives. He did spun a lot of roleplay stories. So,
I mean, other than my singing ability, which clearly is the best, but my roleplay is it's touch and go. So yeah, it creates a lot of role play for those that you left behind, especially if it's planned out and it's done well, and it's not, like a spur of the moment, or you're not one of the guys that's like, killed them off for the 15th time in a row or something like that. If it's done well, even Yunfei, I know you weren't happy with the way it went, and the reason why you did it, which is understandable, but the impact it had afterward, like you got, you got tells and stuff like that. It lets you know, like, oh shit, I had no idea that my impact was that far-reaching.
Yeah. Well, even today in different games, like if I use the name Yunfei, I generally don't role play with it. I'll generally just
play with it. Yeah.
I'll get people sending me tells like, "Are you
that Yunfei?
Yunfei from EQ2?" I'm like, yeah. Yeah. And they'll just be like, "Oh my gosh, I remember you." And like, wow.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, it's a very neat thing. I mean, given it's not why you obviously do it, frankly, I didn't expect it, but it's neat. It's definitely it gives you a feel good thing. I mean, I know Jazz will never understand that because she was universally hated. Universally. Or so a few elitists would have you believe, but no, that's not how it was at all. I
don't reuse character names for the most part.
No. Because if I did,
most of my
what I do, I use it like Yunfei does, which is I'm not role playing as that character. It's just like Xanis, I'm not going to role play in this game. It's just an easy, quick name. It doesn't matter.
Well, I got some revenge actually. Someone went to WoW and made a Vagarina.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they made a Silver Circle.
That's just sad.
And then
now it's getting
not creepy at all.
It went from that's kind of funny into now it's just sad.
But the thing was, they didn't ask me about it. They told me about it after a couple of months. They wanted to know, they were actually telling me because they wanted to know what to do with the hate.
That's good.
And I laughed. It was very funny.
You said change your name, moron.
That's what I told them. I said, change the guild name. Change your name. Dude, there are people that took out full page websites in honor of their hate for my character. What were you thinking?
Yeah, it's not going to go well for you.
I thought it'd be kind of cool because you refused to come into WoW with me, so I just rolled the character by that name, and oh my god, I get tells every day.
Yeah.
They tell me to die. I'm like, yeah, does that happen to you? Yeah, daily. You need to get rid of that.
Yeah, probably. And also, be a little more original.
Well, and they also got a lot of people saying, wow, I'm surprised you're here, but...
And then you're like,
cool,
I'm not her.
Yeah, and then she's like, oh, I'm just borrowing the name, and then they wouldn't talk to her anymore.
Yeah.
But...
Because it's also a little...
little weird. They're like, she doesn't know that you're here using her name. Well, it's not her name, it's just a character. Yeah, some of that. But yeah, so I got a good laugh after I stopped laughing.
Just the character by itself, you could get away with that. Be like, I don't know who that is, but the fact that you did also Silver Circle.
Yeah, Buckering and Silver Circle. There's no way around those two things.
Yeah,
and
I mean, thanks again,
I was
single
just
white
like,
female.
yeah, have fun with that. You might want to change your name because the hate's only going to keep going.
Yeah, I saw that documentary, Single White Female. It didn't end well. Does not end well. So the other one too that impact player killing can have, if somebody kills that person off, it can make someone look like a badass for killing off an actual person, especially if it was a well-established person.
Yeah, about that. The guy that killed Yunfei.
Or universally hated.
Yeah, really bad after that because I didn't think ahead enough, to understand how that would affect him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
and him.
I wanted him dead. It was bad.
Yeah,
I felt so bad.
Well, who would have thought killing off an adorable 3-foot-high, coppered-haired little Fae would
loved. Speak for yourselves, y'all. I mean, hey, Gorma wanted to eat her, Ren wanted to stab her. Hey,
loved her.
It is what it is.
You loved her.
Yeah, I did. Dang it, you got me to admit it.
Yeah. Even at your dark Texan
I put out
core.
An actual contract against that person, but in my defense, he said he didn't mind at first.
At first.
He didn't plan on it being quite so...
universally taken?
Yeah, I think when I talked to him about it, neither of us expected it to be.
I think you definitely underestimated her likability.
Yeah.
I mean, look at that cute little face.
Yeah, that was bad, and I did feel bad. We had that happen a couple of times with people who were like, "I want to kill this person," or I had a guy who insisted that he wanted to try to kill Vapa, and I told him, this is a bad idea. You need to understand this is a bad idea and not do it. And he did. And he didn't like what happened. So it can go both ways.
Mm-hmm.
But
it really can, yeah.
Having somebody kill somebody else, as long as it's not known, it can have a OOC, that was really cool. But if it's a known thing, I think it can go either way and probably mostly bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If somebody had killed off, like Rengots, I don't think everyone would have been like, cool, way to go. That was worth it.
I would have started a freaking ticker tape parade.
Right, for that
Actually,
person.
I don't think so. I think there would have been a lot of people who would have been really pissed off
if Xanis was still around, ticker tape parade.
I mean, we don't know what Vaka would have done. So,
nothing.
That would have been bad.
Because Xanis would have been like, no, it's okay, because he was a piece of shit.
He actually was starting to turn into the beginnings of what Xanis was experiencing by going good at the end there. Which
you always
ate Rengots' lunch because Xanis said at some point he'll have the same. He'll turn into what happened to me.
Yep.
And it came true. You fetcher.
You'll be me. You just don't know it yet. That was. So, all right. So, moving on here. If they're in a relationship, it lets somebody mourn properly, or if it was a miserable relationship because they were never around, move on with their life after the obligatory 15 minutes of mourning.
Oh man.
I mean, let's be honest. It's one or the other. It's either the like with Xanis with Vacarina, where it was months and years long, or it's the...
She didn't get married for 3 real life years.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it took a long time for her to move on from Xanis.
I was going to say, like, an online time, that's
a long
time.
That's
we counted 4 for 1, so...
Well, let's be honest. For some people, me and Sib, that's a long time. We haven't given our others didn't die, but it was only it was less time for us to get together and get married after our divorces than it was for you to get over Xanis.
Yeah,
I'm gonna put it that way.
And you know, when I almost said his name, Jesus.
Don't say it, Taz.
Yeah, I won't.
I don't think anyone would really give a shit. Like he's ever gonna listen to something.
I don't care. I do not want his name spoken.
Oh no, I'm not going to. I'm just saying, even if you slipped up, not like he's ever gonna hear it.
But somebody might, and they would tell him, and no, I don't need that shit. Anyway.
Oh, I would love to have that conversation. I would love to have that conversation on the show.
I would too.
Oh, I bet you would too.
I would love it.
Anyway, when he died, I got to roleplay out her coming to terms with how abusive a relationship they had had. Because while I knew that their relationship was a lot off.
Right.
Vodka didn't. And after he was gone, after she was married to Xanis, actually, she started to see
how badly it was. How
badly he had treated her and had for, hundreds of years. They had known each other for hundreds of years.
And no, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, the thing with that, too, is that wasn't that part, too, you saying that wasn't just an in-character thing, either. That ended up being an OOC realization, the difference between... Because he was... That person...
No, you're very right. I did not realize how abusive he was. No,
as an actual on player-to-player interactions, as opposed to...
Player-to-player interaction, he was
you and I have our... we've had our arguments and our disagreements and our... We've had fights, and not like fights, but, disagreements and raw words spoken between, but we always come back civilly, and we've always been like, I'm sorry, I love you, you're my friend.
I've apologized, you've apologized,
right.
Friends fight sometimes. Yeah. This was, anytime he was in the bad mood, he'd lash out at me, he would...
You were his punching bag.
Yeah, it was very, and, let's be honest, I seem to have a pattern with that, so...
You do!
I do, but, it's because of my mom. It's what I grew up with, so it's what I created in my life in reality, and it's what I created in my life in the game.
There definitely was and again, that probably doesn't happen often, but there was a strange... it was comparable compared to what was happening in character with your character and what was happening out of character with you.
And I didn't see that.
Right.
People did.
Which is ironic. It's ironic because you could see it in your character. You knew it was an abusive relationship, yet at the same time, the exact same relationship was playing out of character in the real world.
Yes.
And you were completely blind to it.
Yeah. It was verbally and mentally abusive. And I did not see it until he was gone.
Yeah.
But
and it's not like you're not an idiot and you're not like, oh, he loves me kind of a person, but at this it just kind of goes to show how easy of a trap that is to fall into when you enjoy someone's company.
Not defending myself or anything.
No.
My first 2 marriages were extremely abusive. So I have a habit of putting myself in the position of savior and trying to fix them. By the way, ladies, it doesn't work. Don't do it.
Yeah.
It doesn't work like my side either. I'm just going to say.
That's right. Listen to her, ladies. You can't fix perfection.
Yeah.
I think I'm...
Are you choking on some crackers over there? Sounds like you're choking on crackers, Sib.
Choking on what that comment was.
You're choking on some bullshit?
Yeah, definitely bullshit. It's getting deep in here. About to drown.
Let's get the waiters on.
We gotta put your waiters on.
Hold on, is that Mike Rowe coming in here? Holy crap, yeah, that's a pile of shit. Mike Rowe's here. So yeah.
And actually, that situation with him,
Yeah, and
which is why you're also look at myself and realize a lot of what I was doing with him my current marriage, and I was married at that time to someone else who treats me like gold. So,
we love you,
but
Jay.
for whatever reason, I let that just happen. And role play mimics life. So
it can. So, but the death of this character who just kind of quit and vanished forced not only my character to grow, but me. So that was kind of cool. Yeah. And I was, I was there to help pick up the pieces, so to speak.
Pick up the pieces.
But and I didn't like the guy, that's for sure. But I definitely, it's just one of those things. You don't expect it to come about like that, and then when it does, you see it, and you're like, "Well, you're better than that."
What's the phrase
for you? It was your, and we tease you for it all the time. Your ability and willingness to forgive the unforgivable.
Yes,
and that was definitely
an
advantage.
A character flaw that I've been working on.
Not one for me. I hate you for the smallest thing.
Yeah, I know.
Oh no!
What's that? Only 9 McNuggets out of my 10-pack. No Christmas gift for you.
It's an unforgivable sin.
1-star restaurant only got 9 McNuggets in a 10-pack. Google.
All right, so moving on, so we can wrap this shit up. Give the player a fresh start if they're staying with the game, but the character just wasn't that good. Sometimes characters suck. I've made a few really shitty characters. It's like, well, that was a complete bomb, and if for some reason that happens and you realize it and you're like, all right, well, he's a little established, so let's go ahead and make this shit character, pay off in another way and maybe start off an RP event kind of a thing. There's definitely some really good aspects of, even a bad character can end up having a good result if someone gets tired of them. And lastly here, the thing that would happen when someone kills off their character is absolutely nothing, because who are you? What?
Yeah, that's always really hard for people, and I always feel bad. But some people kill off their character and expect you to care, and
you don't get it.
And you're like,
sorry, dude, nobody even knew who you were.
Oh, was that the quiet guy that always held the wall up from killing us all in the tavern?
Yeah.
Oh! Well, it looks like the wall's still okay, so I guess we're all right. Moving on.
Yeah. Or someone who is just awful, but only plays once every, 8 months, and then he kills his character off, and everyone's like, who again? Remember that guy that did that thing that was really bad, and we were all mad? Yeah,
the guy
not him, but the other one.
Yeah. Oh, wait, so the guy that was holding up the wall next to the other guy, but only did there like 1/15 of the time? Oh! Yeah. Well, the wall still seems all right, so moving on. Yeah, it's I like I said, it's flattering when you have a bigger impact than you thought if your character gets killed off, and at the same time, don't expect it ever.
Yeah.
It's just sometimes it's just you just don't know. And if that's why you're killing your character off is to be like this giant impact in this community-wide gasp fest, probably not a good motivation.
No.
Just saying, putting that out there.
I remember we had a guy that killed his character off and left the game and then came back like 6 months later, and under the same character course because he wasn't actually dead, and wanted to know why. Remember in Silver Circle we had that garden that had all the people that have died in real life,
right? Like wrong
garden.
Way and stuff like that.
Like Wrong Way and my friend Gina and things like that, where people died and their characters are immortalized as well as them. And he wanted to know why he wasn't in there because he had been such an integral part of my role play. It's like nobody else knows who you are, and you're still alive.
That's for literal. That's for our literal dead friends, not for
literally people that died that had integral role play that meant something to us.
Yeah,
both to do that, it's a big attention grab, right? I mean, ultimately.
Yeah. And we're in the guild. Like we knew a lot, especially in EverQuest 2. We were there for over a decade. we knew a lot of people in the roleplay community that passed away through various, whatever happened in their real life. But if they're not part of our guild, we're not going to immortalize them, in our guild hall. We only did it for the people that were in our guild, which unfortunately, even 2 is far too many, even in that length of time.
4.
Was it 4 total? You might have had a few after I'd left. When I
well,
left,
we had, and I feel horrible because I can't remember his tune's name, but he was a fae that played for several years in our guild and then died suddenly.
Yeah.
And it was really hard because we all had active roleplay with him. He was really cool. And so he's in there, and Gina, and Wrongway, and one other guy. Oh, yeah, my friend, I'm trying to think of what her name was. Not Elena. What was it?
What a great friend.
Oh, stop it. It's the one you can't stand. That was Vaca's adopted daughter. Yeah, there was a lot of those. That played the girl that was the stripper with Miriam.
With the thing in the way. Oh, you're talking about Mayra.
Oh, it's the one with hair and boobs?
Thank you.
Mayra, whatever.
Mayra's real life friend and
I'm cool with her in real life, but I hated her tune.
Well, I know. I adore her. But her real life friend and in-game husband died.
Yeah,
suddenly.
That's
so we put him in there because I had roleplayed with him for years, and a lot of us had. And we were sad about it. So those are the 4 people that were in there. Shalar, if I ever go back to EQ, I keep hoping that they'll make an emulator or something. I might go back if they did that,
honey.
but that'd be about the only way I would ever go back to.
See, and they have EQ too. They have the legend servers, but I'm not giving.
That's not the same thing.
I'm not giving them money. No.
Yeah. I'm not giving any money to Daybreak Games. They can kiss my entire behind. So
they can kiss the
they
fattest part of my
destroyed that
ass.
game, and I can't. Yeah.
So, all right. So moving on here to the last bit here. Things not to do when killing off your character. Coming in at number 1. Let's someone pressure you into killing off something. It happens. Regret is instant.
Yes, it is, and it's permanent. You're stuck.
I don't know why. I feel like that's something you might have. Was that part of where killing off Yunfei came in, Yunfei?
No, I wasn't pressured to kill her. It was more I was trying to escape the...
You were escaping it. Okay. So you were... Well, it was a pressure, just not a... It was a... I don't want to deal with this person anymore. I'm going to have to kill this person off kind of a thing.
So it's still pressure.
It's an indirect pressure. But yeah, I'd still count
allowing
that as a
someone to put you in that position where you feel there's no other option. I mean, it's not quite the same thing, but...
But it is.
Because I've been in that position where I certainly thought about it too, just to get away from the harassment of killing off Ocarina. So I do understand that. I just never actually did it.
And like I said, it's even to this day that's something that I regret doing.
Yeah.
I loved Yunfei, hands down, was my favorite character to have role played ever.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely feel that. So yeah, don't ever let anybody pressure you into something like that if you're not. It's your character. Nobody has the right or the thing to do that. Even if it's an indirect pressure like what happened with Yunfei where you're just not happy, there are better ways to go about it. Don't ever let anybody control your role play to that extent. It's a give and take. Yeah. Yes. Speak up.
Talk to your leader. Talk to your friends. Yeah. Say something.
Say something. Talk to people and let us help.
Yeah, seek out a teacher or someone you trust, like an officer or.
If the bad person touched you.
Yes. Seriously though, talk to someone. Don't be afraid that you're gonna be starting up trouble or anything, or don't be afraid that you're bothering people.
Yeah, because believe me, there's people that I just being part of the officer chat and not Silver Circle, Servants of the Tribunal. I'm not naming names, but. There are always people that are constantly bringing up and bitching points. And sometimes it's a legitimate point, and other times it's just shut up. That's so stupid. What are you doing? But at the same time,
you're used to dealing with it, though.
You take every single one as if it may be serious, and when you find out it's not, you're like, all right, well, we're just going to let that one go. So it's always, never let anybody do that. Also, things not to do, don't do it constantly, as we said.
Yes.
It gets old. and it has no
I'm
impact.
dead. I'm not. I'm dead. I'm not. I'm dead. I'm not.
Yeah,
Stop it.
you're not.
Just kidding.
You're not fucking Professor.
Just kidding.
Xavier.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So the other one. Excuse me. I think I actually get upset when apparently no one cares, or they've moved on super fast. It's RP. People move on quickly, or more than likely, you just weren't as interesting as you thought you were.
Yeah.
Yeah. The end.
But it is important. I've had people come and say this person moved on too fast, and it's like, dude, you have to remember that in RP, it's like shortened. Everything is shortened. Would I do that? No. But I understand why they did. And you need to give people that route because not everybody wants to run around modeling for a year and a half. So if somebody doesn't want to go through the grieving process, boop, they're okay. Let it go.
Yeah.
Move on.
You know, trust me, when I got divorced, it was great. The betrayal of it, that took years to get over. You know, it was the ability to fully trust again. Sib and I both had that. We had a lot of trust issues, even with each other. You know, Jazz was a problem for a while. She was.
I was.
You were. Because we...
Oh, no, I was, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, because you and I were friends, and I would be role-playing before she really got into role-play and knew what it was.
Jazz was the other role-play woman.
She was...
Okay.
Yeah, she was...
I remember that.
Sib was crazy jealous of me talking to you and role-playing with you and spending time with you.
He would be up till, 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning playing his video games. I'm like, what are you doing?
And I'm like, and for me, it's you're the equivalent of the older sister to me. You're the last thing I think of in a sexual way. Not because you're a delightful person, but frankly, it ain't gonna happen.
Look at him tiptoe out of that minefield.
Right. But
very well done.
Yeah.
Very well done. I like that.
Yeah. Hey, trust me, I've learned to not only walk on eggshells due to my previous marriage, I can play fucking ballet on them. But because of that, we had trust issues, and Jazz was a part of it, and with me and Sib, it took us, in real life, it took a long time to get over that. And now, I mean, she's up to, how late were you and her up till last night, Strafe?
I mean, I don't disclose the time I passed out last night at all.
Right. Don't give a shit. I was passed out in bed long before she got there. I didn't care.
Fallout is fun.
I had to find a Coca-Cola bottle, bro.
Mm-hmm. So, and that's the thing. It takes time. And those, if it's all right. It's okay. You get there. So if things move on quickly and if you move on quickly in role play, it's all right. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
It's not it really may not even be personal. It's just they're there to have fun.
Time flows differently.
Definitely.
In real lifetime. Yeah.
It's like a time dilation like we did in that long ago. It moves.
Yeah.
It moves along quickly. And last but certainly not least, if you come back from your rage quit death, don't demand the people you screwed over before retconning the last 2 years of RP they had because you want them back. You dead. Move the fuck on.
Yeah, screw that.
That's what happened with He Who Shall Not Be Named. And, in looking back, I think I should have handled it differently, and I think there would have been a lot less animosity in the end of it.
I disagree. You handled it perfectly.
But I feel like if
He
I had been
remembers it differently, so does Pepperidge Farms.
I felt like if I'd been more open to an alternative thing, that it might have ended a little better.
Nope.
But
that's nice jazz talking. Ashen says no. You did exactly what you should have.
He came back and expected me to basically retcon the last 2 years of roleplay so that he could say that this person never actually died.
Mm-hmm.
No.
And I wasn't going to do it, and I was like, I can't do that. So instead, what we ended up doing, because we RP in the same circles,
was ignoring his existence.
No, she didn't. I will say I didn't do that.
I did.
No, you did. What I did is when somebody was like, well, he says he's this person and he never died and you tried to have him killed. Well, if I had tried to have him killed, he'd be dead, first of all. Second of all, no. Third of all, no. So he's crazy, and we're just going to have to accept that.
Yeah, you just played it off as a crazy person.
Like, he was just a crazy person making up crazy things.
Yeah.
And that's how we handled it. And it actually worked really well because half the people, well, anybody that mattered, went along with the crazy part. And all the people that liked him eventually realized he was crazy. So,
yeah,
it
didn't last long before. You can't hide that amount of
You can't hide that level of crazy.
mental instability. Yeah, so
Yeah, very, very.
But yeah, and these are all consequences. It's all things that come up with killing.
Yeah, you can't come back and be just like, oh, okay, so I changed my mind and I want you to retcon the last 2 years of RP.
Because that would have undone.
How about no, Scott?
Yeah, that would have undone my and yours role play of marriage and all
everything.
all the recovery she had done.
2 years of role play is like 10.
Yeah, that's an literally like. There's people that don't role play in a game that half that long. And they consider that some of the best role play they've ever had. So the fact that you wanted to retcon that, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, I didn't go over well.
I will second
with
that
a
motion.
cucumber sideways.
Oh God,
covered in nails.
I didn't need my dome, sir.
You can stop now.
Oh, I could keep going. My love for that person is endless.
You should hear what my husband has to say.
Oh, that's why I love Jay. And when I say that, I mean I love Jay.
I mean, he's cool. I don't know what
you're making it cool.
Well, I know that when I started making noises about maybe finding a way to negotiate so that we didn't have to hate each other, and my husband was like, absolutely not. Do you hear me, woman? That is a no.
I'll even pull your hair the way you like if you refuse to do that again.
Dude, aside from Orbit, it's the only way.
Just saying, I know what Jay like. I know how Jay thinks.
Yeah.
So,
no,
all right. Well, that was fun. Everybody else have fun?
That was fun.
I mean, as we're all coming from under the sea, everybody having
under the sea.
I didn't have a lot of input because I haven't killed off a character really, except for the throwaway characters. So.
Yeah. Well,
I haven't been playing that long,
as
long as you guys.
That's the thing with talk. You can have an opinion and have to not have anything to do with it. Don't believe me? Listen to politicians.
That's true. True.
So, all right. Well, Erikas, buddy, out there, thank you for the topic. It was actually a really good one.
Oh, yeah.
I do want to remind everybody, this is the third week in the month, so next week, no episode, so don't look for it. Look forward to it, but don't look forward. Wait. Yeah, whatever.
Uh-huh. You just, X yourself, so that was fun.
This is why nobody likes you. So, yeah, we'll be back again, first episode of February.
February.
It's such a stupid month to pronounce. Especially if you have to spell it correctly. February. But, all right.
February. It's very easy.
No, it's called February.
Okay.
February. All right, well, let's start the music. That means the show's almost over.
Night, guys. Thanks for coming.
Yep. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Remember, I don't know what that was, but I'm just going to skip past it as if I did. Twitch.tv/RPMMORadio. I do want to mention, too, I think sometime this week, 3 of us have been playing Fallout 76. And while it is a dumpster fire of a glitch-filled game, it is also a little bit fun, and we thought it might be enjoyable to actually roleplay out in voice chat, because that's the way it is, as if we were actually in that world. So we may live stream that sometime this week. I'm not sure exactly when, but I'll try to put something up when we hammer down a time over at rpmmradio.com/discord, where you can keep up to date. Also, we'll probably put it over on what's that? The Tweety Birds. Yeah, we're gonna put it on the Tweety Bird. So it should be fun. We've been having a lot of time. A lot of fun and a lot of good times with that. Somebody is completely obsessed with it, and by that I mean Strafe and Sib.
I mean, I gotta find that Nuka, bro. It's hiding from me.
They were up until 2 o'clock last night playing, and it's not the first night. So it'll be fun. It'll be entertaining. We've already been kind of goofing around in it and doing some preliminary jokes and things like that, and it's highly entertaining even for us, which given how much we hate each other, is saying something.
Why you gotta judge us, bro? That's harsh.
Ah, shut up, stupid. So, with that, appreciate everybody. I, of course, am Ashen Phoenix, and I appreciate everybody tuning in, including my crew, for being here. Jazz, Sib, Strafei, Yunfei, you guys are amazing. Except for that one. You know who you are. And with that, tune in next time when we'll try to convince all halfling players to kill off their characters. Next time on RPMMORadio. Play on and keep the roleplay going. Good night, everybody. The thoughts and opinions of those on RPMMORadio are just that and should not be taken as the gospel truth, but pretty close to it. Music, as always, is provided by Husky by the Geek. Visit him at youtube.com/HuskyByTheGeek to hear all his great video game rock covers and original music.